broke a cup. I get it. She's a gaslighting bitch. But boy, oh boy, is she fucking sexy. I meant to do that. You guys saw that trick shot? She has ties to the fucking mafia? What?
May your heart be your guiding key.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second annual Mark Madness. We're back, baby. We're back. They gave us a second episode.
Got renewed for a second season.
We got renewed for a second season, and it only happens once a year. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. And this year we're doing a little bit different. Last year we did greatest Disney movie of all time. Pop quiz, who won?
Are you asking the chat that
asking
isn't
you guys.
interacting with us, or you're asking us?
I'm asking you guys.
We know it was Aladdin because we did it. We were there.
Spoiler alert. It was Aladdin.
You know who won? The listeners. They won.
Yeah, the people at home. The viewers at home. The viewers around the world won.
That's right.
And Aladdin. Aladdin also won. This year we're doing greatest male WWE wrestler of all time. We bumped up the amount of people we have too. I believe it was 90?
96.
96
A lot of
people.
dudes.
A lot of dudes.
Like a second
Later on, at a later date, we'll be doing the women for their own separate bracket as well. You could probably expect to see that sometime in the next couple months or so, whenever like all these male ones are done and uploaded. We'll get the females ready to go. But how are you guys doing today on this fine day?
Good. I'm good.
Guys.
Yeah. I was leaving the runway there for Duck, and he didn't want it, so I'll take it. I'm good. Good. Excited to be here. We've got some fun shenanigans going on again, so look forward to that.
It's been a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's another Mark Madness, not Mark Easiness. So hopefully it lives up to the rep. So
Of course.
See how it goes. I got a whole new setup as from last time. I'm rocking a different mic, a different camera, different.
That's true. I'm in a whole different apartment from last year.
I know you're in a different apartment. You got you're on a computer this time, not your cell phone, which is interesting.
That was rough. That was rough.
I'm a person of Mark last time.
It was so
Pretty
rough.
much,
Having to hold my phone, like whatever it was. Oh man.
Well, when he gets tired, let me.
It was much more mobile setup though. That you got that going.
It was, and you were lounged out on your couch. You're just like
Making myself comfy.
Yep.
Now I got this
I don't have my
chair.
sword this time, so I got my back scratcher. That
I have my whistle though. That
I'm ready
stays
to
the
start.
same. That stays the same. Steven, I need the bracket. Do you have the bracket?
I have a bracket, but I'm not giving it to you. You'll get it as we go through it.
Wow.
I want the bracket. This guy always
Steve-
making demands.
Steve-
It's the same as last year.
Steve
My
rules
bad.
his list.
It's all a surprise.
Okay, fine. Let's get this show on the road.
You know the people. Okay, so it's me. There has to be some sort of shenanigans involved.
Oh man, here we go.
And I
Which
had
is
to
ironic because he's nonsense Steve, not
I know.
senseless Steve.
I had to dodge Duck yesterday because he was asking me questions about it. So, last year we did Disney, so I had to do Cinderella story. So this year we will be doing Money in the Bank.
Nice.
So each one of
He was
us
dodging
gets
this question.
one Money in the Bank at any point in time in the first round or the second round. Okay. Either of the first two. Once someone is eliminated, you can declare them your Mr. Money in the Bank. At any point in time in rounds 3 or 4, the next two rounds, so basically the 32 and the Sweet 16, you can make a matchup a triple threat.
Wait a minute.
And if it is a 3-way tie with one vote for each person, whoever's the Money in the Bank automatically advances.
That's
So-
fucking crazy.
So it's not a automatic victory for whoever the Money in the Bank is, but you can add them to any matchup that you like in rounds 3 or 4.
So that's good / bad
Mhm.
because I may have been planning to drop a couple shenanigans out of the way. I
Uh-huh.
may have been planning to cut a couple people who always seem to be like I was going to do Steve's strategy,
Uh-huh.
where there's always a couple people that are always the top of these lists.
Yeah.
And I was going to right away. I was going to get rid of them just so we could have some fun.
Yeah, so there's no automatic pass through anymore. They just get added to the match
I like that.
and makes
I
it
like
a
that
little
lot.
more interesting.
I like that a lot.
Hold on, before we start, let me go get my glasses so I can read what's on the screen.
Okay, perfect.
Gotcha.
And then in addition, for you people at home, last year, of course, we had it broken out into specified regions based on the timeline or the era in Disney that they were from. And we discovered that golden era sucked. That was just, or what was it? The bronze? One of them. I think it was the bronze one. The bronze one sucked. It was a lot of trash in that bronze era. And because of it, we had a not great movie. I mean, they were all good movies, but a not great movie coast into the Final Four. So this year we did not do any like era or any qualifier specific regions. It's all just broke everything out from 1 to 96 and then broke it into regions accordingly. So we're gonna start in region 1, and then because we have 96, each region has 24 entries.
Okay.
Which means the top 8 automatically have a bye through the first round.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to start at the top. We're going to go with the 17 seed, Bobby Lashley,
Okay.
against the 16 seed, Rob Van Dam.
That's a lot harder than you would think.
Not for me.
I know
Go
yours.
ahead.
Yeah. You want to open?
Yeah. For me, it's Ronald Van Donald.
Mhm.
I'm the ECW shill here.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley may have murdered ECW. Whereas Rob Van Dam was TV champion for almost 2 years. That's insane. Imagine like somebody defending a title every week and being Gunther essentially defending a title every week and being the champion. He was when the invasion started, the invasion that nobody liked, by the way. He was the only bright spot of it, in my opinion. Like he was a star of the invasion. I think he would have had a longer title run if he could lay off the wacky backy, but he could not. So he had to get rid of his heavyweight title when he won it. When he went to AEW, when he went to TNA, he was amazing in TNA. So was Lashley.
Yeah.
Though. Lashley was pretty damn good in TNA. I would argue Lashley had a better run in TNA than he did in WWE.
Yeah, for sure.
He literally had every single belt on him at one point in time because TNA lull. But Rob Van Dam was just an incredible in-ring performer. Much better on the mic than he was given credit for, which Lashley not great on the mic.
True.
Lashley's also great in the ring, but I just feel like Lashley was wasted. He didn't live up to the potential he has.
Much better second run in WWE than first run in WWE. Like he was one of those people. He won the WWE title twice.
Taking on Sami Zayn's sisters, like that was part of his second run.
Oh yeah, like when he first came back. But he also won the WWE title twice.
Yeah.
He beat like McIntyre at Mania when like this was when McIntyre was like hot.
Was the guy, yeah.
Yeah. Like and like
all the hurt.
And then he also all the Hurt Business stuff, despite what like the shenanigans that happened, he beat Brock Lesnar, which like isn't something that like can be scoffed at. And like his first run, he won the US title, he won the ECW title, but that's really about it. You know what I mean? Like I would say his first run was maybe a little bit more memorable because of like like that's just probably like when we first were like really like getting into it, if that makes sense. Well, at least me personally, like when I first started watching wrestling was around 05, 06, and that's when Lashley was making his way up. But like I would say like this run in particular that he just had was his most memorable as far as WWE is concerned and more successful. His TNA run is definitely not something to scoff at either, like you said. Um, in general, though, just because of the longevity and just how innovative he's been as a performer, I'm gonna also go RVD. Um, I think RVD is one of those people that I would argue RVD is probably one of the most underrated superstars of his time. When RVD came up in WWE, it was so goddamn stacked, and like there was never like a moment for him to be like the guy, unfortunately. And he's one of those people that no matter who he had a match with or who you put him with, he always found a way to kind of like make it work. And even like in TNA, same thing. Um, so I am also going to go RVD, but I think it's a lot closer between the two.
I'm going to sweep it. I'm also going RVD. He's the whole damn show.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about him again in the next round. So we'll move on to the next matchup. We've got the 9 seed in this bracket, Kevin Owens, going up against the 24 seed, the Hurricane.
Oh my god. Kevin Owens is so much better, but the Hurricane just makes me happy.
I'm gonna go KO. I'll go first on this one. And I think he's gonna advance, so we don't need to talk about him a whole lot. But just, I mean, from his promo work alone, I feel like he coasts pretty easily here. But his in-ring stuff is crazy for a guy his size. The agility that he moves with, all the dives and the top rope stuff, it's pretty crazy. So I think it's pretty top to bottom easy. Like you said, like Hurricane from an entertainment perspective is great.
It's fun.
But from an actual like overall wrestler, KO is the whole package.
Well, the funny thing about Hurricane is that like he's always been like really good. Like even like when he wasn't the Hurricane, he was Gregory Helms in like 05, 06.
Mm-hmm.
And he was having like that long run with the like cruiserweight title. Like I don't think this is anything to take away from the Hurricane per se, but like he unfortunately like has never been like there's just always been like a better small guy than him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like you said with Kevin Owens, like he like is another one that I think is like someone who probably deserves a little bit more than he's gotten. Like to be in WWE for as long as he's had and only have one world title reign is kind of crazy to think about, especially as it's about to be, I think like it's like 8 years since he had that title reign.
Right.
Which is also kind of insane. I am also gonna go KO. But shout out to the Hurricane. Shout out to the Hurricane.
I don't want to make it a sweep, but I can't pick the Hurricane, even though the Hurricane has had probably one of my favorite promo battles ever against The Rock.
Yeah.
Most people just get smashed when they do promos against The Rock. The Hurricane thrived. Gregory Helms was a great character who dominated the cruiserweight division for years. Mighty Molly coming in with the Hurricane was great. Rosie, the superhero in training, the shit was great. But Kevin Owens is so good in the ring, so good on the mic. Kevin Steen was good. Even his Twitter game's good. Like he for a while he was teasing he was gonna join AEW. Like he put the Mount Rushmore ordinance on there, which is the throwback from PWG when he was teamed up with the Young Bucks as Mount Rushmore. Like, I wish they'd keep him away from Sami Zayn. I mean, that's kind of getting stale for
They're
me.
always gonna be intertwined. It's
I
like
understand. Yeah, I understand they're the immortal rivals, but I don't need it every other week. So, but yeah, Kevin Owens is so good. He's so good. Well, he does.
one thing about KO that I love is like he seems to be the only guy that remembers everything.
Yeah.
Like
He is
you'll
Captain
have
Continuity, that's for sure.
it's so good. Like I'm glad that there's somebody like out there that like makes it like a thing to be like, wait a minute, you like attacked me like 6 months ago. Why
Yeah.
would I be like your friend now? Like,
Right.
what are we doing here? So I do appreciate that as
Or
well.
the whole Ezekiel thing. Like, no, you're the same guy that was
You
just
are
here.
literally Elias. You are literally Elias.
And that's another reason why Kevin Owens is so good. That was a stupid ass segment they thought
Just
of.
breaking through the
And
kayfabe all
He
the
made
time. I
that
love
into
it.
gold. He made that into
he
gold.
made that fun. Oh, and Elias is not a great wrestler. He's a good
Yeah.
gimmick. He's not a great wrestler. But that was such a fun time for him during a
Mhm.
shitty time of wrestling, by the way. And that was fun. So Kevin Owens with a bullet. Rip the Hurricane. Loved that guy. Stand back. The Hamburglar, also known as.
All right, next up, we've got the 12 seed Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon,
Okay.
going up against the 21 seed Johnny Gargano.
I love Gargano, but it's Scott Hall.
Mm.
It Scott Hall is one of those guys that like to me, Scott Hall is probably the biggest like is probably the one of the best people to never win a world title and like wrestling history. Because I don't think he won the WCW title either, did it?
No, he did
I
not.
think so.
So like I think Scott Hall is one of those people that's like one of the biggest like how didn't he win a world title? Like he was always like solid in the ring. He was always solid on the mic. He was always entertaining. He always had a fun character, whether it was Razor Ramon or just Scott Hall and WCW. And like he was just like to me like he was one of those guys that like one of the first guys to make it like cool to be not to no pun intended to be like a bad guy, you know?
Yeah.
And like to me, like is a very like revolutionary like wrestler when it comes to like character work and what he's done, like what he did for like what people are today as far as like the heels being the cool guys. You know what I mean? So like for that, I love Johnny. Always gonna love Johnny. I think he is a guy that like put NXT on his back for years and years
Yeah.
and years. His ring work is always solid. His character work is always solid, whether he was a face and had like that like Daniel Bryan type deal going on, or whether he was a heel with the way, which I thought was wildly entertaining
Mhm.
and really carried NXT through the pandemic. I'm gonna give it to Scott. Unfortunately, Johnny just kind of ran into a buzzsaw here.
Yeah.
Here's where we're gonna have to differentiate stuff. Because if we're going by best wrestler, Johnny Gargano destroys him. Razor Ramon had some great matches. Scott Hall had some great angles. He was tons better on the mic. He was a fantastic entertainer. The complete ripoff of the of the complete
Scarface.
ripoff he did of Scarface was expertly done.
Hey yo.
Um, he revolutionized the business, man. He made it so wrestlers can make money. Um, I'd much rather watch a Razor Ramon segment and a Razor Ramon promo and everything than the Gargano, but Gargano has much better matches. So it's like
Yeah.
as far as the better wrestler goes, it's Johnny Gargano. As far as who I'm gonna pick here, it's Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. Um, the NWO is massive. Maybe it got too massive, as we all know.
Yeah,
Uh,
kind of like blew up.
and this is also another thing where we're gonna get to age because this is when his big stuff was when I was just coming off the wrestling high because I come off of wrestling for like 2 years and his where they were at the top, the NWO was at the top. That's where I was watching it a lot, so that's a pretty
Yeah.
good thing to have. Um, but I'm gonna stick with Scott Hall. Thankfully, I don't remember enough of his TNA run to bring him down because he was pretty dreadful then.
Yeah.
He will admit it because his body was breaking down and he was heavily on drugs. He's another one of those cases of, man, I wish they didn't have the painkillers back then. I wish they had more of the
Yeah.
stuff they have now to
He
help
also
him
drank
out.
a fucking ton too, man. Like,
That's how they got out of it. But Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, my winner. Fun fact about Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, never in a Royal Rumble.
wait,
Not one Royal Rumble was he in.
Scott Hall?
That's part of my
Really?
research. That's part of my fun facts on people.
Huh.
I did my homework for this, unlike
Interesting.
VM mode where I do no homework. Not one
Scott
Royal
Hall,
Rumble.
not even as Razor. Interesting.
Fake Razor Ramon was in a Royal Rumble. Real Razor Ramon, never in a Rumble.
That's insane. Wow. Huh.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna sweep it. I think it's pretty easy for me, and we won't spend any more time on it. Next up, we've got the 13 seed Lex Luger
Okay.
against the 20 seed Mark Henry.
Ooh,
I think this is Mark Henry easily.
oof.
Okay.
I think this Lex to me is one of those guys that first of all from now like I don't know a whole bunch about Lex.
Mhm.
I know he had a better run in WCW than WWE, correct? Okay, like infinitely better, right? Okay. So like to me Lex is one of those guys that like I never got it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure like he I've never been a guy who likes like the Hogans, Warriors, like I've always been a guy who likes like the workhorses and likes the people who are like just like can do more, whatever. And to me, from what I know, Lex was never that guy. And like and correct me if I'm wrong whenever I'm done. But like Mark Henry, like he's always been an entertaining guy and he's always been able to make what he's been given work. Sexual Chocolate, when he came back as the world's strongest man, that was really good stuff. The Hall of Pain. Oh God. All right. Well, not everything. Not everything.
He made it entertaining, though, is what I'm
Oh, yeah,
saying.
sure. Fair.
Like, if anybody else had that gimmick, would it have really worked?
You're not
I don't
wrong
know.
there. Like between comedy stuff, and then his serious stuff when he did like the Hall of Pain, when he was feuding with Batista, had a match with Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is like a big deal in itself, and a casket match, which is something that like was a great match, but like the fact that like he had a casket match with the Undertaker at Mania, it's kind of nuts in itself. You know what I mean? Because like usually, like Undertaker isn't just fighting schmoes at Mania. You know, like he's
I would argue that more than half of Undertaker's WrestleMania matches are stinkers than good.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't really get good up until like Flair and
But anyway,
like
sorry, continue with your
yeah.
point.
But like in general though, I just think Henry was always more entertaining, one of the best, like better like big men, one of the more intimidating guys as far as like big wrestlers, you know what I mean? But could always switch it on and be funny as well. One of the most iconic segments in the last like 10, 15 years with the whole like fake retirement speech is still fucking brilliant. Yeah, I'm going Mark Henry on this.
Well, we're gonna have our first major disagreement.
Really?
Mark Henry to me was probably the biggest bust WWE signed for the first 10 years of his career. He was one of their first big accusations coming out of being the world's strongest, winning the world's strongest man legit. I mean, Lex Luger was a pretty big bust too, but they put him up against Bret Hart, so there you go. That's the thing. Lex Luger was the total package. He did have good matches for the times. I mean, if you're looking for everybody kicking out at 2 or the NXT classics or the Will Ospreay TN or AEW things that we're seeing now, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that out of these men. But he had good matches for the time. I mean, granted, it was a lot of rest holds and punches and look at me, I'm strong. But that's what he was. That was his character. But Mark Henry would have fit in perfect for this time, by the way, because that's what he is. the angle where he had that plate put in his arm and he would like just run and whack him, like that was great for me. Like that's a good way to give somebody a finisher that we hadn't seen till then. Like I think he paved the way for a lot of the oh now I have brass knuckles. And like he did really well with that. One of my favorite moments was still him landing on that airship and going in and or not airship, the aircraft carrier picking up and slamming Yokozuna. I still remember seeing that as a kid on the 4th of July. It was incredible. Him showing up in the Mall of America, like people didn't do that, just showed up at the Mall of America on WCW Nitro and just
Yeah.
was there. It was like, that's Lex Luger. What's Lex? And because that was before I didn't have the internet back then. I had AOL and like I think when I was a freshman in high school in 98, 97. But there were no dirt sheets, there was no Twitter. We didn't get to see that. I mean, I'm sure there was, but I didn't see it. So that was shocking to me. It's like, oh my god, he's here. He was a member of the Four Horsemen. One of the vaunted groups of me growing up were the Four Horsemen. Like it was Sting versus the Four Horsemen, and then he finally joined the Four Horsemen. And then I was so mad at Sting, like I am now. Um, he was in the War Games matches that were so good. I'm going Lex Luger. I'm going the total package, the narcissist. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Before Steve goes, all those like matches that he had were good. Do you think it was him contributing more to those or his opponents? Because he was also going up against pretty big time people that
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
were
I would
probably able
argue,
to carry him.
I would argue Mark Henry was too. It was for the time period. It was what it was. Like he's going up against Barry Windham. He's going up against Flying Brian Pillman, who, by the way, better entertainer than wrestler in my opinion. Um, we might
Yeah.
get to that later. I'm not sure. He had matches against the Giant, which were horrible. But I mean, he had matches against Hulk Hogan, which you get what you get out of those. You're gonna lose. Um, Matches with Sting. But Sting was a great performer. He had a horrible SummerSlam thing where he won against Yokozuna, but we're not talking about that.
I just think that if Lex was good enough, he would have gotten the Hogan treatment in WWE. They propped him up, ready to go, and he couldn't deliver like he should have. So I think if he was good enough to do that, he would have done it. You know what I mean? That's
Well,
my argument.
what they did was they propped him up and they basically let us choose. Do you want this guy or do you want this guy? And people chose Bret Hart over him. Bret Hart's going to be a top 5 in this thing. I guarantee it. He's going to be up there, which is one of the people I was going to knock out, by the way. Bret Hart overshadowed everybody back then. He overshadowed Diesel, overshadowed Nash, kind of the same guy. He overshadowed Scott Hall. So he went up against a tough time. Like, do I think he would have? Do I think he would have like produced against some of the people Mark Henry going up against? Absolutely, like absolutely, he would have.
Two different like roles though. Like Mark Henry was a giant, you know, like
So was Lex Luger.
strong
Like
guy.
Dude.
Like
in terms of like wrestling and pure athleticism, Lex Luger is fantastic. I'm also going to go Mark Henry, just overall, mainly because of what Mark said, the fact that he had so many different gimmicks. He was so dynamic outside of the ring, and then inside the ring was a dominant force. Whereas in WCW, it obviously changed, but for the most part in WWE, I feel at the time of WWF, why he never really got over is because he's at the end of that era when it was always, oh, the good guy's an American and the bad guy's a foreigner. That was kind of the entire like 80s and early part of the 90s in WWF. And Lex Luger was built up as like American made and the hero from America who's this strong guy that was going to win.
The guy who was supposed to take the torch from Hogan.
And he was putting in good matches and he was getting the victories to get into contender positions. Like he co-won a Royal Rumble, but he never won a singles title in WWE. So a majority of his run was through that weird WCW 90s era when everybody was steroid jacked up out of their minds and everybody was just beating the hell out of each other. And
you either had that or like the workhorses like Bret, Shawn. Like It was like a weird. I think if Luger would have debuted a decade before,
Mhm.
I think we'd be having a completely different conversation as far as how big Luger was.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's just a
Well,
product of his time.
So when you said Mark Henry was a giant, Luger's actually 3 inches taller than him.
Well, I mean, like he was.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you
Henry
were
was
saying-
also 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean like height. I meant like
Gotcha,
weight.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Luger's part of that era when you had to be minimum 6'5" to be in the WWE.
6'5", fucking like 12-inch biceps. Like, like
Mark would have made it.
I would have.
Yeah, so Mark Henry for me, just on the overall outside of the ring and in the ring.
Former world champion, too, in WWE.
Everybody was champion in WWE at one point in time. JBL had the title for a year. Come on.
JBL is another good one. I like JBL.
We'll get to
Character
him at one point
work-wise?
here. All right, next up, we have number 14, Psycho Sid, against number 19, Taz.
Oh, another man.
I'm going Taz on this one.
You're gonna have to show your work on this because I know you weren't an ECW guy, and his run in WWE was pretty good.
Well, so unfortunately I didn't watch a lot of Sid or Taz. Like they were just before my time, whatever. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go back. But like from from the little things that I have seen of Taz, he's like he was, from what I remember and from what I saw, kind of ECW's like kind of, for lack of a better term, like workhorse, more or less. Like he was one of like the guys that could actually go and
Everybody could
actually.
go in. Well, Sandman couldn't go, but most people could go in ECW.
But like he did it despite his size too, in an era that where like what is he, like 5'11", like 5'10" or
5'9".
something, like 5'9". He, like, I'm taller than Taz. Like he can also whoop my ass. So like I feel like he did it in an era, like Taz succeeded in an era where he shouldn't have succeeded. Like he also revolutionized, like, as far as like his suplex game, like it's just wildly like entertaining and also like really badass. And like Sid, to me, like, I don't know, he was always one of those guys that like there was just like so many people like Sid, like tall, brooding guy who does a power bomb. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I think it's easily Taz, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're too young for that. Taz's WWE career was maybe the top 5 best debuts of all time, coming out there and choking out Kurt Angle. After that, it was he sucked. And like you said, guys that small don't do that. In AEW, everybody was, or not AEW, excuse me, ECW, everybody was that small. ECW made the cruiserweights famous. His runs with beating up on Sabu were huge. Yeah, they were great.
I was forgetting about how big those smallest people were in ECW. Now I'm thinking about it.
ECW did not have a big roster. But the best thing I could remember about Taz and ECW off the top of my head was him and Bam Bam Bigelow going through the ring, which is something nobody'd seen before.
Actually, I've seen that. Yeah,
I think Taz was a product of the system. And when he came into a system that wasn't built around little guys, he did not flourish. He had horrible runs. He was a joke, a literal joke. And even during the invasion, Paul Heyman pointed out that he was a joke. He's like, "You made him a color commentator. He was a great guy. He was alright. He was a good wrestler. Like, yeah, I wouldn't say he was the best. The FTW stuff was kind of funny. It was like, oh, I'm a champion. I got the fuck the world title. Like, he wasn't even a real champion for most of the time. To say he was the workhorse is a stretch, but it's not untrue. Like, he did have matches in there. He wrestled a lot, but Sid, man, Sid was great. Sid was fantastic. Sid was power bombing everybody. He was a big guy. he was legitimately scary, dude. He was scary as Sid Vicious. Yeah, he was Psycho Sid. You had to worry about this guy. Those fucking Jerry curls, the mullet. He was. If you're building a wrestler, you're not building out of Randy Orton. You're building out of Sid. Like he had the look, he had the power, he literally shit his pants in a WrestleMania match because he was tried so hard. Um, Again, one of the shitty WrestleMania matches with Undertaker, if we're being fair. Um, but I enjoyed Sid. Sid was a great villain. He was a horrible face. Like you couldn't make him as a face. They tried, it just didn't work. It's like nobody wants to see him be a face. You want to see him kill people. He did fall victim to Hulk Hogan wanting to be Hulk Hogan because I remember Hulk Hogan kicked out at 1 on his power bomb, and I was like, "This is when." And that was early WCW Hulk Hogan when Hulk he just came over from WWE or WWF. And everybody's like, "This is why nobody likes Hulk Hogan anymore. He's just kicking out of moves at 1 and." Like he kicked out at 1, stood up and went, no, no, like bitch, you just buried one of the best moves in wrestling. Like that was so protected for a while. And I will never forget seeing this leg break, which made me real sad. If you want to see something nasty, watch that. But Sid, man, I mean, I'm obviously biased towards power bombs, and usually biased towards ECW, but Taz was not it for me. He wasn't it for me. It's like this little angry guy. All right, we get it. They had a lot of little angry guys in ECW. They just kept getting grabbed by somebody else. Like the radicals, all of them made their way through ECW. Just grabbed. Rey Mysterio grabbed. Psychosis grabbed. Going back to what you said with Lex Luger, if he was so good, why wouldn't he be pushed? If Taz was so good, why didn't he get grabbed? So it's like also he beat Mike Awesome, which makes me sad. But you know, I'm going Sid. Sid was better for me.
So as part of my criteria for this, I was automatically going to build in the fact that I actually think Taz is one of the better wrestlers turned commentators, and I was going to try to use that as part of my my argument for him when he came up in the bracket, and then he came up against Psycho Sid, who is, I think, an underrated guy for his promos and what he was able to do on the mic outside of the ring. Like when he destroyed the barbershop. And it's like he like you're saying, Doug, like he was Psycho Sid for a reason. He was a psychopath. He was specifically there to scare the hell out of you. And I think he did a fantastic job with it. He multi-time WWF champion, multi-time WCW champion. I am going to go Psycho Sid as well.
I didn't watch, like, I'll admit that I didn't watch any Sid really. So, like, I'm kind of going based off of, like, just, like, the stuff that I know. Like,
he's one of those that, again,
limited,
just like you, he was kind of a little before I got super into wrestling, and I had to go back and watch through his stuff. But once I went back and watched through it, it's good enough that I think he definitely deserves to go through into the second round.
Fair. Like, I don't think Taz is worth the money in the bank, so I'm not going to argue.
The master and ruler of the world. Sid.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
His son was on Big Brother twice too. Fun fact. Sid also a fantastic softball player, or was.
Right. Next up, we got the 11 seed Booker T against the 22 seed Braun Strowman.
Booker. Like, if this isn't a sweep, it's Booker. Like it. Like
the King, just King Booker wrestler, alone.
Incredible, like athletic, like had the look, super fucking charismatic, can be a face or a heel. Like one of the few people whose WCW and WWE works were really good. Like awesome tag team wrestler too. Made teaming with Goldust like somehow, like, not that Goldust is bad or anything like that, but like made that incredibly entertaining. Like
the spin of Rooney,
like to this day still entertaining. To this day still entertaining guy. I think it's Booker easily. Like I don't think it's even close.
I agree. Duck, do you have anything you want to say about Braun Strowman before he hits the road?
Poor Braun. Like
he ran into it.
he's one of those guys that he should be a champion.
He deserves so
should
much.
just-
He
should be
deserves
just
more.
dominating people. I don't know what it is. I don't know where the disconnect is with him. I don't get it.
Well,
should
he
have
was
been-
on fire from like
He's one of those guys that
2017
should
to
have
like
been around.
2019.
If he would have debuted 10 years earlier, I think he would have been fantastic. Where we're at now, it's like, sorry, Braun.
Because like
Look, I mean,
Braun
I
and
love
like the
Booker.
Wyatt family.
I was around for Booker's five WCW champions. A couple of them weren't great, but Booker was good. He was good.
I think Braun's
think
best
that-
work was with Bray.
Like, I think it was with Lashley. That like feud where they were just destroying the sets and shit. Like when they were just beating each. Like that was fun. Like
I don't know.
Braun.
His worst work was also with Bray too. That swamp match was fucking stupid.
I liked all the pre-tapes
Pandemic
that they
wrestling.
did for that during the
That was fun.
pandemic era. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that because they did all
Like,
the
I-
callbacks to the two of them and the Wyatt family and how, Bray brought him into this business and all that. Like I
and
enjoyed
Roman
that.
were fun, kind of too. Like Braun, one of those people that like I didn't when like I saw he was like going on his own and leaving the Wyatt family. I'm like, oh man, this
Yeah.
guy's gonna be a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And
So
he proved me wrong. He proved me
So,
wrong. So
when they used to do it was FCW before NXT, and it was
Yeah.
very close to where I live. And I used to go to those matches, and the Wyatt family would come out, and it wasn't Braun Strowman for the first period of time. Their big guy was Eli Cottonwood. There's an alternate universe where Eli Cottonwood is Braun Strowman.
it was Harper and Cottonwood, right?
Look at
And then it
that.
was Harper and Rowan.
It was Harper, Rowan, and Cottonwood. That was
Cottonwood was with them. Oh shit.
so. There you go. They definitely upgraded
poor
their big man with
Cottonwood.
that. You think we'd be talking about Eli Cottonwood in this stream?
Mustache.
All right, here it
Anyways, sorry, Braun's not as good as Booker T. Easy.
Next up, we've got the 10 seed Samoa Joe against the 23 seed Keith Lee.
Joe. I mean, I like Keith Lee a lot. I think he's one of those guys that, like, if
Come back to Triple H, Keith. Come to Triple H. Triple H.
I was gonna like if he would have debuted during the Triple H era of WWE, like I think he'd still be here and probably like at least a multiple time mid card champion. Probably somewhere like around there, maybe even a little bit higher. But Joe to me, Joe is first of all like the length of body of work. Like he's been doing this since what, like 2003. You know what I mean? Not that like Keith Lee hasn't been doing it for a while, but like
Right.
Joe's just been in the limelight for so goddamn long. His stuff in TNA, like
I was going to
early
say,
day
if we're
TNA.
going to consider TNA accomplishments, which we're not, but if we were, this would be Joe and we would just move on easily because of
I mean, like
how dominant he was for so long.
if we're
in
looking
TNA.
at just WWE, I'm still going Joe.
Yes.
I mean, he's one of the like when Brock Lesnar was the Universal Champion, back I think in like 2018, whatever, and he was just kind of feuding with like random people, whatever, on one-off pay-per-views. Joe's one of the few people
on what was
I
that?
thought-
Great Balls of Fire, one of the ridiculous.
Joe's
Gimmick
one of the few people that I
pay-per-views.
thought, holy fuck, like I didn't think he was gonna win. I don't think anybody really thought that. But he was one of those people that I thought, man, like he's holding his fucking own.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like he like made Lesnar he like on the mic in the ring. Joe's just one of those people that like you see him in the ring and you're like he a man that size should not be moving that fucking quick. It should not
Well,
be
you could
doing,
say
like-
that about Keith Lee too. They're very
True.
similar in that regard in the ring. That
True,
similar
I just
stature,
think-
similar agility, dominant when they want to be. To me, what puts Samoa Joe over the top for me is the mic. His
Yeah.
ability to cut promos and to just destroy people on the mic. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Like,
whole
wildly
AJ
entertaining.
Styles thing.
Wendy.
How's our girl
Wendy.
Wendy doing? Like like
Future
Joe,
Steve insert the Wendy
yeah,
promo
like
here.
yeah, I would say like as far as like in ring work, they're very similar. I think Joe's also more accomplished in WWE. Like statistically, he just has done better as far as like titles and stuff like that. And then yeah, like the mic is what really
I
kind
mean,
of
he
like
was
sets it
certainly
apart.
more dominant in NXT, which is really the only place that Keith Lee shined.
Yeah, true.
It's emotive, Joseph. Keith Lee's my dream
Lovely.
man. Look at that guy. Love that guy. How can you look at not Keith Lee and not be happy? But he's just. I don't know if it's the booking. I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know what's happened if they don't get
I think
it.
it's a combination of both.
Bearcat was freaking stupid. They brought him up to the main show and they took away his theme song. Like, what the fuck are you doing? We just want to sing his song. Let us sing his song. No, they don't want us to.
He came up during prime senile Vince.
And then
Oh, yeah.
they made him a heel. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I actually didn't mind that.
His-
I actually
his-
kind of liked it.
His best WWE moment was when WWE, not NXT, moment was when he was in the Royal Rumble and he came out when Brock Lesnar was dominating.
Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar's like, big boy.
Yeah.
I died.
That was pretty great.
So Samoa Joe had a better run in NXT, had a better run in WWE. AEW had a better run in TNA, which was something I watched tons of. He was responsible for at least 2 of the top 5 matches of all time. And he debuted in Ring of Honor in 1999.
Wow.
So there you go. That's his debut. That's all he's been doing. He's just good.
He's still good.
He's another one of those guys that scare you on the mic. Like he sounds when he wants to be scary. He's a.
Hell, he was great on Up, Down, Down too.
He was very entertaining about that. Joey Headrocker.
Yeah.
Was that his name? I don't know.
The Power Game.
Mm-hmm. The Power Game.
That's what it was. Yeah, the Power Game. Okay, now I remember. All right, yeah, I'm going Samoa Joe. Keith Lee, we love you though.
All right, this is an interesting one to finish out the first region here. The 15 seed Big Van Vader going up against the 18 seed Dolph Ziggler. Two wildly different people. I mean, they're both entertainers, right?
I mean,
Vader had some acting chops.
One of them was in Boy Meets World, though, so you know.
Right.
Poor Mark has no idea what Vader does.
I'll let one of you guys start off on this. I'm going Ziggler, but
yeah, that's you don't have a choice. You didn't get to see Vader. Vader is one of those guys that I don't know if Vince didn't like. You hear different rumors from everywhere, like why his WWE run didn't work. You hear Vince didn't get him, or the Clique didn't like him, or he hit too hard. But Vader was a force, man. He was a force in WCW. He was a force in Japan. That big ass elephant mammoth mask that he put down that he wore out to the ring and then put down on the floor, and smoke would come out of it. Like I remember that more than I remember any Dolph Ziggler matches. Dolph Ziggler to me is Create a Wrestler 15, and
wow,
and that's how they treated him, though, right? Am I wrong? That's how he was treated. His best run was in TNA, in my opinion. They tried putting the title on him in WWE, and it failed. He got a concussion, and that was over. He had one of the greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins of all time, and then that fell flat because Alberto Del Rio concussed him, so that was over. Dolph Ziggler's a good hand. He's a good guy to have. Vader was a guy that you could make your heel champion, and you had people go up. You had your faces you want to conquer him. Him and Sting, like if you haven't seen him and Sting, look it up. Him and Mick Foley. I think Mick Foley, he ripped his ear off. Mick Foley ripped his ear off in either that match or Bam Bam. I can't remember which one in Japan. That was another huge one. I'm going with Vader. He was one of the first heels I can remember that I was like, oh, that guy's crazy. Somebody beat him. Go Sting. I remember when Sting beat him for a title. I was like, yeah, Sting. Vader for me. Dolph Ziggler for me. Mikey. Like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ziggler. You had a great career. You're good at wrestling, but you're generic.
I think you're disrespecting Ziggler a lot. I think you're disrespecting Ziggler a lot. Okay, I'm actually gonna go second on this because I'm not gonna allow him to talk about Ziggler like
Go
this.
ahead.
Like between his matches with Seth were like within the last like 5 to 6 years or so, like were amazing. His matches with Seth, his matches with Bryan, his feud with Miz for the Intercontinental title where he put his career on the line.
Did he wrestle with Seth?
Yeah, he did. He actually beat Seth for the IC title.
There was a whole
Seth
summer when it was Seth and Ziggler back and forth for the IC title, and that's when they brought in Drew McIntyre to team with
Ziggler.
One of the coolest moments
that carried that whole year of WWE.
One of the coolest moments in the Authority era when Team Cena versus Team Authority, when Cena got eliminated, and it was Ziggler versus Seth, Kane, and Big Show, I think. Or Harper, or one of the two. It was 3-on-1, and Ziggler winds up winning the match. Like one of like the biggest pops I've ever heard for that. And Money in the Bank cash in, another one.
No, hold on. That Survivor Series pop.
Okay, Sting. I remember Sting. Okay, I remember Sting, but like, let's not take away from like. It's not like people went dead when Ziggler got the win. You know what I mean? Like people were
tried to push Ziggler and it didn't work.
Okay, but like there's a reason why he stuck around for so long. He had so much longevity. Now, granted,
there's no place else to go.
What do you mean?
For years, there was nowhere else to go.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that like if they really viewed like they could have just gotten rid of him, is what I'm saying. Like if Ziggler wasn't as good as he is, you know what I mean? Ziggler is one of those guys that like. He wasn't he's one of those guys that you could put him almost anywhere and he'll make it work. Whether it was like a one-off feud whenever like Kofi won the world title and needed somebody to feud with Kofi for one pay-per-view, whether it was somebody you needed to hold the US title, whether it was someone you needed to be a tag team champion. You know what I mean? Ziggler is one of those people, he was never like the best at any given time during his run, but he was always dependable. He always had good matches. He always made. There's a reason why Goldberg's match after Undertaker was against Ziggler, because Ziggler made Goldberg, 55-year-old Goldberg, look like a fucking truck. So I'm going Ziggler on this.
Okay. You didn't get to see Vader, or else you'd be like, Vader was so good. You would have loved Vader.
I will not tolerate the disrespect of Ziggler.
Vader was very good. He was also part of that era of, again, the big guys in the 90s that just dominated people in the ring. It was always the big guy that squashed the smaller guy, and he was good at it, and he was entertaining, but I think for me, this is Ziggler, and it's pretty easy.
Young kids don't understand Vader.
I mean, I saw Vader. Vader's good. He's just not Dolph Ziggler. He's a better technical wrestler. He put over so many people, which you don't see in this industry ever. Like he helped build AJ Lee and Big E. He helped build McIntyre coming back from the Indies and coming up from NXT. He helped form so much. And then, like I said, that whole summer back and forth with him and Seth for the IC title that mattered more than anything else, because that was when Brock Lesnar was holding the championship hostage and literally was never on the show.
Good times.
Yeah.
That's actually and you say like, oh, you know him as Nikki. To be like in the Spirit Squad and to be able to come back from that and be in WWE for like a decade longer, more than a decade longer than that, I think goes to show you how good he is. Because you don't see anybody else from the Spirit Squad still around.
What's his name?
Cool. Kenny Dykstra?
Kenny is still a producer. He's doing great stuff.
Oh, okay.
I see him almost every week breaking up brawls.
The brawl breaker.
Ziggler sucks. Anyways, moving on.
Wow.
I
think this is just your Joe Henry fan coming out.
Use your money in the bank on Vader if you love him that much.
Honestly, I do love Vader that much, but I don't think Vader's going to get the respect he deserves by you guys because you guys didn't get to witness his dominance.
I mean, he gets through if we split the vote on wherever you had him.
Plus, he was on Boy Meets World, which is funny as well too. Frank,
I actually do like seeing him on Boy Meets World episodes. I'm watching it for the first time, like all the way through. It's always entertaining to see him.
Anyways, I can accept he moves on. That makes me sad, but I can accept that. I don't think he's gonna get very far.
All right, we're on to Region 2. First up, we've got the 16 seed Matt Hardy against the 17 seed Finn Balor.
Whee!
It's like, okay, so what do you like? It's like, what do you value more, right? Like,
Do you value longevity or somebody that's been a world champion?
yeah, honestly, like it's.
I'll go first.
Hardy is
Matt
just
Hardy's so much better. He's recreated himself so many times. Finn Balor is one of those guys that's like, what the fuck happened? How did you drop this ball? They were gifted the leader of the Bullet Club. Then he was so good in NXT, so good. Came out there with a bang, won that tournament, won the title. Granted, Seth Rollins killed him because that was when Seth Rollins killed people.
He was really good when he went back to NXT.
He came back to NXT. Was good. Was part of that pseudo.
I think it's a booking thing, man.
Pseudo undisputed era. Having
when he turned on Gargano.
Yeah.
So that was phenomenal.
Yeah, he actually won the title again. Yeah.
Yep.
He was good with the Judgment Day for a while. Then they gave the title to Damian. Then they gave the Money in the Bank to Damian Priest instead of him. I think that was a terrible mistake. Granted, it got good pops for Damian. It's made Damian a lot better, but I think Finn should have had that. Finn was the leader. Now it's like, is Dominic Mysterio the leader of that group? And it's not even. Or Liv Morgan, is she the leader? Like,
I think they're leaning towards Dom at some point, like turning on Finn and like picking Finn out or something like that.
And I just he was Smiley guy for a while, where he was just walking around smiling real big. They had him with the OC for a while, and that was good for a bit. But I don't know where it is. I don't know if they don't get him. I don't know if they don't like him. I don't know if it just something happens every time, but it just doesn't work.
It's Matt the booking.
Hardy,
I mean, like,
responsible for arguably the greatest wrestling match in history, widely regarded, that TLC match. Which is on part of the greatest WrestleMania of all time, arguably. And then he ends up leaving WWE because of the whole cheating scandal. Comes back, he's big. They decided to push Edge to the moon, which was the right decision looking back at it. And then Matt Hardy went to TNA and dominated TNA and had a great run in TNA. Like, he was floundering in TNA. They're like, you know what? Let's make him batshit crazy. He got over a fucking drone.
Yeah, the broken stuff.
He made people like a drone. He made people like his father-in-law as a gardener. Like, I was dying the whole time.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy, so creative, so good. To this day, if you go to an event like and see the Hardys come out there, they'll be the most over group people in there, which has a lot to do with this as well. Hardy's just been doing it forever. He's been fun. He's great. Finn Balor should be better than he is. And I don't know whose fault it is. I like Finn, but I'm going Hardy. Sorry, that was very long-winded, but Hardy it is.
So, to me, both of these people suffer from, like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? Like, there's very few times where, like, either of these guys have been, like, given the ball and, like, been able to, like, really, like, run with it. There's always just, like, to me, like, you say, like, the popularity of the Hardys, 80% of that's Jeff. Like, let's be, like, 100%, like, transparent here. Jeff Hardy.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a good exercise with this. Like, they've both, like, obviously you can't compare, but they've both won tag titles. They've both been in successful tag teams. But if you're looking at just a singles resume, completely getting rid of any tag accomplishments, and it's Finn against Matt Hardy, I think it's Finn.
Yeah, I mean, like, but like,
because Matt won the ECW title, right? He held that for a little while, but I think that's it.
No, he was a U.S. champion for a very long time.
I think he's talking about just world title. He was US.
If we're talking about just WWE World Titles, and that's it. But he was a
he was a US champion.
He was a US champion with MVP, and he had that feud with MVP for quite a long time.
Cruiserweight champion.
He was the cruiserweight champion, where he had his little MFer carry around his scale, so he could prove that he was underweight, which cracked me up, which was amazing.
European champion as well at one point.
Forgot about that.
I'm not going to count the hardcore title if he won that. Just
Matt Hardy is one of those people that like. Matt Hardy to me is like a poor man's Chris Jericho, and like a guy who like when it feels like his stuff is getting stale, finds something different. Well, not Jericho nowadays, but like when it feels like his stuff is getting stale, finds a way. Like Matt Hardy version 2, like fucking like Matt Facts, the things that Andy's Randy's is based on.
Yeah.
The broken stuff, like. There was a period in time.
Remember when Mark made Matt Fax famous?
I did actually.
Such a sociopath.
They've been rebranded to Andy's Randy's, believe it or not. But like Matt Hardy to me is one of those guys that like always great like character work. Always like I don't even know where I'm going with this. I don't know.
You messed up with that Matt Fact.
I did. I threw him
with the Matt.
I'm gonna say it just feels wrong to pick Finn over Matt. But if you look at they have had very comparable careers, minus Finn winning the world title, and like you could argue like that was just Finn is just a victim of circumstances, right? Like. We know Finn is good because we saw him go back to NXT and do really good and then come back. So like the main roster start floundering again. So it's not even a fact of whether or not Finn is good. We know he's good, but it's just, to me, Finn is a victim of the booking.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think with Matt, I'm picking Finn. It feels weird to say it, but I'm picking Finn. Like, it just feels like with Matt, like Matt to me has always felt like he's been booked in the right place. Like he's never, like I don't consider Matt Hardy overrated or underrated. He seems like a guy who's always been booked exactly where he needs to be, which is kind of like a mid-carder, which isn't bad. You need people like that. To me, Finn Balor is one of those people that probably... Okay.
This guy.
Finn Balor is one of those people that, like you said, it feels like he should be bigger than he actually is. And I feel like a lot of it is the booking.
Right.
So
I think that's part of the issue with Finn. I'm gonna go Matt Hardy.
That's fine.
I'm good
either way.
Yeah. Whatever you did, I was gonna vote the other way. This did not deserve to be a clean sweep by any stretch of the imagination. But Hardy, I think, should advance just based on his overall work.
Yeah.
I think what Finn has an issue with is the mic work. He can be a little rough at times. He's gotten much better with the Judgment Day stuff, I think. I think he feels more comfortable with that.
He's just a better heel than a face, man.
But he falls into the weird category I've talked about a few times in the past of like the KO and Kofi Kingston, where they're a guy who is just constantly in the world title picture and never wins it. They're always somehow a contender to be on the top of the card and never gets put over. Like I posted in our chat when I was going through this that in the last 2 years, he's had 16 televised singles matches and he's 2-14. And it's almost been a full calendar year since he won a singles match on television. So he just keeps getting put into these big qualifying and championship matches and never getting put over.
Never the bride.
Right.
Always a bridesmaid, never the bride.
So I think part of that goes into the negative look at him. Like he's got to eventually win one of these things for us to buy him as a legitimate contender. Same thing with KO. You can't keep putting him in the world title matches and never putting the title on him and expecting us to buy that he deserves to be in the world title picture.
It's kind of like how like Chris Jericho was in like his later years in WWE, where like he would always like start a feud with someone and he wasn't gonna win because he would never win these fucking feuds.
Right.
Like he was always the guy who would like face the new guy but lose. It's like
Or even stop putting him in the world title, put him in the IC picture.
Yeah,
Or
have
the
him hold
US
the mid-card for a
championship.
while,
Give him a
yeah.
mid-card title to hold for a while. Let him be some sort of champion so that we care.
Yeah.
All right, next up. We've got the 9 seed Christian against the 24 seed R-Truth. I'm going Christian and all the peeps.
I mean, Duck, do you want to say something before I go?
No, I'm pulling up stuff. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going Christian as well. To me, so you have so it's actually funny we just talked about Matt Hardy
Mhm.
and how he's always kind of paled in comparison to Jeff. To me, Christian has always been overshadowed by Edge, but I never thought it was that deserved. Christian has always been a wildly entertaining guy.
Yeah.
Has always been a solid competitor that just to me was never really booked as well as he should have been. Christian winning his first world title in 2011 to me was long overdue.
Yeah.
I think his heel work has always been solid. Whenever he I don't want to talk about TNA too much, but his stuff in TNA with the Christian Coalition, he made Tomko somehow kind of relevant, which Tomko was kind of a whatever guy, whatever. But Christian to me has always been one of those guys that always deserved way more, and has always kind of lived in Edge's shadow. And
Yeah.
it sucks because he's always been wildly entertaining. He's always been solid in the ring, but for whatever reason, was just never booked better. I don't get it. That's it. Sorry.
Poor R-Truth. He's been around forever.
R-Truth is incredible.
Mhm.
He's been in WWE forever.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that has staying power.
I think that's going to end up being I haven't checked the other brackets yet, but I think that's going to end up being a theme here. The 24 seed in the first bracket was the Hurricane, who basically is just in it on his entertainment value. And I think here we are, the 24 seed in Region 2, and it's R-Truth, which again, he's a fantastic wrestler in his prime, but I mean,
Still can go.
It's mainly for his ability on the mic and his entertainment backstage and in his segments.
His heel run.
Yeah,
his heel run with little Jimmy.
Yeah,
it was so stupid but so great.
Right.
So he was also one of the first TNA World Champions.
I do remember
as
that,
Ron the Truth Killings. He was heel then. He was you're pushing me. You want the Great White Hope, which was great stuff. He was serious. He was a serious heel.
Yeah.
And then Pac-Man Jones came in. He won the titles with Pac-Man Jones, which was
I just remember
Team
that
Pac-Man.
too.
That was still weird because Pac-Man couldn't take any hits, so they just it was so stupid. Then Christian also won TNA title. Christian is a very good wrestler. I don't know if he deserved more, but he worked hard. He was good. He was great. Remember his one world title. His major world title win was because Edge retired. That was a feel good moment.
Yeah.
He won the title after Edge, and in my opinion, his best world title win was getting kicked in the dick by Randy Orton. I thought that match was good. That was a DQ ending made it fun for a fun match. Good job, Christian. Christian moves on here, in my opinion. I pick Christian over R-Truth, but I love R-Truth. He's just
R-Truth. Yeah,
the more we talk
R-Truth is one of those people that
yeah.
R-Truth is one of those people that probably he doesn't deserve to get swept, because it's one of those guys that he's still going in 2025 and he's been going for so goddamn long,
right.
And he's still hilarious too. He doesn't he doesn't feel stale.
All right, next up we got the number 12 seed Kevin Nash, aka Diesel, going up against the 21 seed Aleister Black.
That's easy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? If you're the Creeds, Aleister Black is the guy you fear more than anything.
It's Kevin Nash.
I love how that's canon, though.
No, it's canon. That's 100% part of this. Yeah.
Aleister Black, another guy to me that should have had a better run, but didn't. For some reason, was brought out of NXT as Ricochet's tag team partner,
Uh-huh.
which was really weird.
Really weird.
great matches with Cesaro, great matches with Buddy Murphy.
The best thing that Aleister Black had going was the entrance when he like rose up out of the crypt. That was the best.
I was really excited.
His entrance song was a banger too.
When he was gonna do his heel run against Big E, I was really excited about that, but then just got released a week later. I was like, all right. Like,
I liked his match with God, I forgot his name. Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
Awesome.
His rivalry.
His NXT stuff was awesome.
Yeah, he was incredible in NXT.
Like Velveteen Dream, he had really good matches with Adam Cole. Like somehow made fucking who did he wind up losing the title to? Ciampa, right? I think it was Ciampa. Had good matches with Gargano, Ciampa, like always just a really solid guy in the ring. Really like cool character too. Like it felt like a natural progression from like Taker to Wyatt to like him as far as like character work, like keeping that dark stuff in there without it feeling supernatural, if that makes sense. So I'm just giving him his flowers, but it's Kevin Nash. Like,
all right, so he's losing to Oz, I guess, huh? In Vinny Vegas. God, speaking of shitty gimmicks, hello Kevin Nash. So love Kevin Nash, always have. Another guy that was big in WCW. He was on the champion of the lowest point in money wise in WWE history, if I believe if I'm correct. Although he will never admit it, he'll be like, "Well, actually, we did this, and this when I was champion." It's like, Kev, bro.
I'll settle for a fucking year. It was a stinker.
It was bad, buddy. It was bad. It was real bad. He did. He's one of those guys that made it so you can leave and make money. And the NWO stuff was incredible. His the way he beat Goldberg was terrible, but he was good. Finger poke of doom. He is synonymous with some of the most infamous shit in history of wrestling, which is unfortunately sad. He tried to murder the X Division in TNA, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was fun. Kevin Nash, just better run, better better entertainer.
I was gonna say always a good mic guy, not really a great match guy.
Yeah.
Like
hell of an enforcer.
Like seeing him like looking at and you could argue like, oh, like his size played a factor in his like in-ring ability. It's like, look at Undertaker. Like like Undertaker was maybe an inch shorter than him and can do so much more.
And you're looking at the Undertaker with some rose-colored glasses though, because he's had some stinkers too.
In early years,
let's not talk about him right now though. Kevin Nash was not a great wrestler. We know that. He was a hell of an entertainer though. He's moving on easily with me. Probably for his work in The Longest Yard alone was enough to move him on for me. If you
Kevin Nash easy, it's a sweep. Let's move on. Next, we've got the 13 seed Yokozuna.
Oh, I love Yokozuna.
Against the 20 seed X-Pac, aka the 1-2-3 Kid.
Oh man!
Oh my god! This was prime me watching wrestling.
X-Pac, man. It's Yoko, but like I don't like Yoko. Man, X-Pac was always one of those guys that probably should have won more than he did. Like,
what do you mean? He upset Razor Ramon when upsets didn't happen. He was the first jobber to win a match. The 1-2-3 Kid, the Lightning Kid. What else? What other kind of kids was he? He was something else.
He was 6 in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm thinking of all his kid names. The rich kid when he sold out to the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
DX Kid.
The DX Kid.
He was always an entertaining guy, always solid in the ring too. But I just feel like he should have won more than he did, personally. He like always just a solid competitor, but like Yoko was another guy like that I've actually have like watched some of the stuff from Yoko and like the size that he was and like how quick he could go.
Yep.
Was fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I think it's unfortunately kind of easily Yoko. Also taken very soon. I think he still could have had at least another 2 world titles before he passed away. But yeah, I think it's Yokozuna.
I'm going Yokozuna too. For all the reasons you said, he was a good wrestler. He was a great big. He was another one of those guys. He's a big, massive heel for people to try to have to conquer and take over. Um, him with
But
Owen
actually
Hart.
felt like he was like good though.
Him with Owen Hart was sneakily a great tag team, which I enjoyed. There's a reason it's called Xbox Heat, guys. Like he just didn't connect with people. He just didn't. Even when he was the Lightning Kid, the 1-2-3 kid, it was like, I mean, it was pretty cool to see somebody jobber win back then. Because I'd watch Saturday morning wrestling, and they wouldn't even get entrances, dude. Like it was so much different than it is now. Where you'll see, okay, well, you know who's gonna lose and who's gonna win. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now it's like, but then it was like you're watching generic wrestler 3 take on a star, and you're like, well, this is gonna suck. And he pinned him. It was crazy. Pinned him, cleaned his whistles, rolled him up, got a pin. Then he did it again. It was so cool. But yeah, Xbox sucks. There's
You know, like Xbox.
banger musics, banger entrance musics though. Uncle Cracker doing the X Factor was fantastic. Were you looking at the X Factor?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yoko for me, clean sweep, easy. Next up, we got number 14, Jeff Jarrett against number 19, Bam Bam Bigelow.
I'll let you take the reins on this. Steve, you go first because it looks like Duck is at war with himself.
He is, and I don't know why. It's Jeff Jarrett pretty easily. Just everything. In ring, solid, but his gimmick, his personality, his mic. It's Jeff Jarrett. It's not close.
I'm actually going Bam Bam. I'm actually going Bam Bam.
Why are you doing this to me?
I'm actually going Bam Bam. I think Bam Bam was one of those. Bam Bam walks so Keith Lee can run. Bam Bam was one of those guys that like.
Why are you making me decide this?
Because you're at war with yourself, and I need you to be the deciding factor on this. Jeff Jarrett to me has always been one of those like entertaining guy, but like I don't know, man. Like he just to me like he's just always been like a guy that like just kind of like he's entertaining, but there's just something about him that like kind of bores me. As far as like maybe it's like his because like I started watching Jeff Jarrett during his TNA stuff, like during like his reign of terror. So it's like it's one of those things like I have a sour taste on Jeff Jarrett. The fact that Jeff Jarrett in 2025 is still going is like why? Like why?
Because you ran out of money.
Because you ran out of money.
That's typically how that works.
And his dad ran out of money.
So I'm going to start another company and another company. It's like, come on. But I think it's Bam Bam. A guy who probably, that's a reoccurring theme here. A guy who probably should have won more than he did. But yeah.
The Beast from the East. This is tough for me. I love JEFF, JARRETT. And I love Bam Bam. I kind of want to pick one and then use my money in the bank on the other.
I mean, Jeff Jarrett was a 4-time WCW heavyweight champion.
He was the chosen one.
6-time Intercontinental champion in the WWE. He won the European Championship as well. Hall of Famer. Bam Bam never won a singles title in WWF or E.
And he got beat up by Major Pain.
And like you're saying, like a big man who can move, absolutely. He was one of the first big guys who was doing stuff off the top rope and was more athletic than you'd think he was. But he never got put over ever.
No, he didn't.
He always was the one taking the pin or getting knocked out or getting eliminated by somebody to make someone else look like they were great because they beat up this big monster. Like, he was basically a high-class jobber.
That
He
sucks.
was a large Dolph Ziggler.
Except
I'm going
Dolph
with Jeff
Ziggler
Jarrett.
has, like 20 more championships is all.
I'm going with Jeff Jarrett. The Beast from the East was so good though. He was so good.
I'm
And
not
that
mad
head,
at it.
and that head tattoo was worth going into the second
Yeah,
round alone.
crazy.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, like,
Did you guys remember his cameo in Major Pain though? So funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, Rip Bam Bam, loved you. You were great.
All right, this one is interesting. Number 11, Jeff Hardy against number 22, Rikishi.
Jeff. Jeff to me, like, and like, this isn't hyperbole, like, by saying, like, probably one of the most popular. Oh.
Offended.
Rikishi fan.
Jeff Hardy.
How dare you? He loves the stink face.
Jeff Hardy, arguably,
Big fan of the Sultan too.
Right.
like, arguably one of the most like consistently popular like wrestlers like of all time. That like, there's never been like a time where Jeff Hardy has been wrestling and has not been popular.
Mhm.
Like from like his early stuff.
I can remember a pay-per-view I was at where he was not popular.
Okay, were you at Victory Road?
Oh yes.
You were at Victory Road? Oh my god.
Oh yes. And
Okay.
I was also at Bound for Glory when he turned heel, and we were in the third row throwing our shit in the ring like dirt bags.
I loved it. I loved when he turned heel. But yeah, Jeff Hardy has always been a guy who was consistently popular and like maybe a little overrated because like he has never been that great like on the mic. You know what I mean? Like he's always been like fine on the mic, but his popularity has always kind of like carried him into the positions he's been in, but always like solid in the ring and willing to do things that like a lot of wrestlers would never even like consider.
Yeah.
So like, and multiple time world champion, like several times over as far as tag team champions. Solid, like a guy that like you could kind of put wherever and like it's gonna at least get eyes on it. So I think it's Jeff.
I'm going with Jeff Hardy too. Make a difference Fatu, the Sultan. I did it for The Rock. Like Rikishi's had some stink face gimmicks. He's not the best wrestler in the world. He moves a little bit. He moves fine. He dances fine. He gets people happy. He did it for The Rock. But Jeff Hardy's good. He's really good. And to this day, when he takes off his shirt, people cheer, which I don't understand. He's not the most fit person. He's not Rick Rude. It's not like he's sporting boom. Like he's got that crazy tattoos. Jeff Hardy's one of those guys where it's like, bro, if you could have just fucking found another way to deal with your pain other than medicating yourself or
Yeah, super popular guy and super successful guy that probably could have been more successful if he didn't do the shit that he did.
yeah, and it's
Okay, but it's a double-edged sword. Because the whole reason that he's popular is because he kills himself in the ring. Is because he treats his body like garbage.
No, I'm talking about like the drug and alcohol stuff.
Right, but he needs the drugs and alcohol to deal with treating his body like garbage.
Yeah, I've been in a contract.
To stay away from the drugs and alcohol and not have that kind of lifelong pain like he's dealing with, he would not be doing the stuff he's doing and wouldn't be half as popular.
I was at a signing with Jeff Hardy
Very fair.
Impact, when he was at the Impact Zone in Orlando, and he was. This was during his big TNA run, multiple TNA runs, and when he got up and left the table, he had a cane.
Yeah,
and this was 2010, 2009. So I can't imagine what his body's dealing with now. It just. You're right. It's a double-edged sword. He's so good. He's so good. I'm picking Hardy, but man, God, he could have been. Oh, he's still one of the best to ever do it. I'll say it. He really is one of the most popular of all time. Period.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the same logic I used in the other Hardy match. I'm going to go with Rikishi just because I don't feel like he deserves to be swept. But had you picked Rikishi, I would have picked Jeff Hardy. So I feel like he's the one that does deserve to go through on this. But I also think that Rikishi, I mean, we've talked about a couple of times like Hurricane and R-Truth having the entertaining gimmicks. And Rikishi with Too Cool was really one of those guys that carried a lot of like the entertainment, especially because during the similar, time with Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardys, you had all these serious tag teams, and then you have Rikishi join up with Too Cool, who nobody would have cared about Too Cool unless they had Rikishi as like their enforcer and funny guy dealing with them. So wildly entertaining.
So, while doing research for this, we didn't know the brackets in advance, just so you guys know. So I had to research everybody just little things, and I tried to pull up some tidbits about people. Rikishi was actually involved in a drive-by shooting when he was 17 years old. And he claims he was legally dead for, hold on, let me read it. He was legally dead for 3 minutes. This is what he claims. This is in 1982, so I don't know about records or stuff. I was like, really? All right.
That's pretty crazy.
All I'm thinking is you were 17 years old in 1982, and you were wrestling. Like, good for you. Good for you, wrestling into the 90s. Well done. Anyways.
Well, yeah, I mean, he would have only been 36, 37 in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah. But yeah, it was good for him.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got the 10 seed Shinsuke Nakamura against the 23 seed Shelton Benjamin.
Wow.
I think if you include NXT, it's Nakamura easily.
Yeah.
It's not close.
They're very comparable.
If you if you just go by WWE like main roster though, I still would lean Nakamura. He's had the IC title and the United States title. He's been the mid-card guy. They're doing with him what I wish they would be doing with Finn Balor.
They're doing with Nakamura what they should have did with Shelton.
Well, they should have put Nakamura over Jinder Mahal. They should have put the title on him at that point.
Well, they were going for that.
But they wanted the India ratings.
That's exactly
they wanted.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that Nakamura hasn't won a world title.
Yeah. But they took him out of that picture. I don't think
it's ever going to happen.
And put him into the mid-card. And he has been winning mid-card championships and been a force in the mid-card area, which I think they should be doing with Balor. And he is just getting beat up at the top instead.
This is... I'm going to say Shelton just because of the longevity.
Okay.
He debuted in 2003 or 4, and he's still going at a pretty consistent rate. One of the guys in the mid 2000s that was always awesome to watch. I loved seeing him in the Money in the Bank ladder matches and seeing what he was gonna do. Seeing him run up a leaned ladder was fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Shelton Benjamin was always one of those guys that deserved more. Kind of sucked on the mic, if I'm being honest. Kind of still sucks on the mic. I wish he would have gotten a mouthpiece or something like that, and everybody can, I guess, have a Paul Heyman,
Well, I mean, he was in the Hurt business with MVP,
and that's his most entertaining stuff he's probably ever had. So it's
his tag team was pretty good.
Yeah, the stuff with Team Angle, that was also really fun. But again, always a guy talking for him. But when he had to kind of be the guy that kind of spoke for himself, it was always just kind of meh. You know what I mean? Which kind of sucks.
His underdog rivalry with Triple H during Triple H's Reign of Terror was pretty good.
That was actually fun.
If we would do this a year from now, I'd probably say Shinsuke Nakamura, just because I think he's on a good trajectory right now, as Steve is saying. but I haven't loved his. I'm gonna go with Shelton.
Wow.
If I'm looking at matches right now, I'm gonna watch a Shelton program over a Shinsuke program. Shinsuke is one of those guys where they're like, it feels like you're about ready to push him, and then right under his,
Yeah, the rug just gets taken.
which Shelton was for a long time as well. But his IC title matches were great. I can
US
think of
title too.
I can think of great Shelton moments. He was a moment machine, and maybe that's why I'm picking him just for the moments. Him getting kicked in the face by Shawn Michaels off the springboard was incredible. Um, the T-bone suplex was his finisher for a while, which was kind of cool. The gold standard. His
Yeah.
mom coming out was funny.
His mom was hilarious.
I'm picking Sheldon. I think a year from now, I would say Shinsuke. When this comes out, I might even. I don't know when this is coming out, but this I could go either way with this one, but I'm going with Shelton. I prefer him over Shinsuke.
I feel like they're very comparable as far
First
as
major upset of the bracket.
I don't know if it's that big of an upset in my opinion.
I mean,
I think
it
it
was
is.
a 10 seed that you just knocked out for the 23 seed. So
Shelton Benjamin, baby. Ain't no stopping me now.
Both banger songs,
Rock
by the way.
man.
all right, next we've got the 15 seed Owen Hart against the 18 seed Sami Zayn.
Oof, a Canadian battle.
Hmm.
I'm
I
going
love Owen
Sammy.
Hart. Sucks for Mark. He has to decide. I loved Owen Hart. I'm gonna pick Owen Hart. Owen Hart was that slow build rivalry with his brother was just insane. And then even when they took him away from his brother, when he was holding up both the Slammy trophies all the time, talking about how great he was, they had him in that stupid ass match with Ken Shamrock,
Mhm.
which was better than it should have been. Sami Zayn's another guy where maybe next year I'd say I'd pick Sami Zayn over him. Also, I might be using my rose-colored glasses because I enjoyed Owen Hart and I enjoyed everything he gave to the business. He even made that stupid ass blue blazer thing work for him. Like it was clearly punishment for his brothers leaving, and he made it work for him. And until obviously he didn't.
Yeah.
He'd be a Hall of Famer if his wife wasn't rightfully pissed off about what happened.
Yeah. Very fair.
Sami Zayn's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. I think Sami Zayn. The only thing that hurts Sami Zayn for me is him and Kevin Owens. And I understand that's the thing; they're going to be always linked together. But some of Sami Zayn's best stuff, is it because Kevin Owens is so great, or is it because Sami Zayn's great with it? You know what I mean? And Sami Zayn has had some great individual rivalries as well. I don't think he should have been the one to beat Gunther at WrestleMania. I think it should have been Chad, but I also think Sami should have beat Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. I think that would have been a fantastic moment. So we go back and forth with it. There's no wrong answer in this one, in my opinion. I love both of them. I think both of them could win the next round depending on who they go against easily. So I'm going Owen though. Love Owen.
So to me,
And his laugh was hilarious too. That little smarty.
as good as Owen was, I feel like unfortunately we didn't get to see his like best work as far as like. So Owen obviously died prematurely, whatever. You think when he was it 99 or 98 pass?
99. It was like over the limit. I think it was the pay-per-view.
It was like 98 or 99, like around there. Think about like the influx
May
of people that
23rd,
came in.
1999.
Think about the influx of people that came into WWE after Owen passed. Eddie, Benoit, fucking
God, the matches.
Kurt Angle, fucking like Edge,
Jericho.
fucking Jericho. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that we unfortunately did not. Rey Mysterio, you know what I mean? There's so many people that like we never got to see Owen fight, and I think that I think
It would have been so good.
1,000%. If Owen would have lived, he would have won a world title. I think he would have eventually worked past that Blue Blazer stuff, and like he would have been able, because like everyone who has ever watched Owen has seen how good of a wrestler he was. Some argue better than Bret. You know what I mean? So it's like Owen was always one of those people that was really good that I don't think we saw his best work. And I think right now like we're still like I think Sammy can still win a world title, like the world heavyweight, not the WWE, the world heavyweight. To me, like whenever Daniel Bryan, um, like ceased to stop being like the underdog,
Mhm.
I feel like over time Sami Zayn kind of carried that torch, and he's kind of like the new ultimate underdog, whatever. And he's incredible at like making you believe and making you feel like like you say like he shouldn't have been the one to beat Gunther. I think he was a perfect one to beat Gunther because he was one of those guys to me that like never in 1,000 years you would think because Gunther was just such a dominant champion. And Sammy is one of those guys that like he's always a better chaser than he is like a champion, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like even like his heel work was really entertaining. Whenever he was doing like the conspiracy stuff, like that was really fun. Like I think it's Sammy, but like I think it's strictly because we could still see the best of Sammy. Unfortunately, we never got to see the best of Owen. So it's
I
like
still think Sammy has one of the best ladder match moments of all time when he handcuffed AJ
so
and Jeff Hardy
creative. That's
together
so
that he could climb
creative.
up the ladder.
Handcuffing the fucking his ear
Mhm.
to the ladder.
Mhm.
Like
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
one of the biggest like
So
the
good.
messing with Hardy's ears is still just the most disgusting thing. I tried to
one of
go
the
out,
biggest pops, like whenever he turned on Roman
Mhm.
in like the last like 15 years.
Yeah, just
like
being part of that bloodline, basically
That was-
being the main thing of the bloodline storyline for a full year.
yeah.
Just carried
the
that.
stupid
When
hand
he
flaps were-
when he shouldn't have been.
Right.
When
I
he
was not-
shouldn't have been.
The
Like he got
Uzi.
put there.
And all that.
He got
He's
put
not
there.
Lucy enough.
Mhm.
Like let's be real. Sammy shouldn't have been as successful as he was in that storyline.
Right.
But like
It was
so,
supposed
like,
to be a one-off thing.
So like I think you have to give a lot of and like I like I said, I still think we're in for like a Sami Zayn world title run at some point. I don't know when that is. Like obviously the stars have to align, but like I think at some point we'll see it. Like he just needs to make his way over to Raw.
I'm not mad at it at all. At all.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. When Owen Hart passed away, he was 34 years old.
Oh yeah,
In
taken way too
99.
soon.
Could you imagine the matches we would have had? Like it's
Owen versus Kurt, Owen versus Benoit, Guerrero, like
Mhm.
Jericho, like Lance Storm was another one that oh
I mean he
so
did
sad.
his wife did say that he was going to retire when he turned 40 because he loved his family. So we would have had
At least 6
we would
years.
have had 6 more years of him during the hottest point in wrestling history. Like it would have been insane. But again, rip. I'm not mad. Sami Zayn's incredible. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
All right, we're on to Region 3. Clash of
Region
eras
3.
here. We've got the
Uh-oh.
16 seed Sergeant Slaughter against the 17 seed Dean Ambrose.
I mean, I have
Sergeant
ugly
Slaughter
stepchild.
sucked.
I,
Like I'm not. I don't love the way Dean Ambrose was in WWE. He was still better. He was still good.
Mhm.
Sergeant Slaughter sucked. He was better in fucking GI Joe than he was in anything else. I can't think of one good Sergeant Slaughter match, and that was when I was a kid watching pay-per-views for free. He was basically there to take the belt off of Ultimate Warrior, so Hulk Hogan could get the title back.
yeah, I
Like
mean,
it's and him being I support the Iraqi military, and then they brung in General Agnab or somebody else. I forget
General
who it was.
Adnan
And they
and
brought
Colonel
them in there.
Mustafa.
They brought those two in, which by the way were way past their sell-by date. They were done at that point in their careers. Sergeant Slaughter sucked. I'm going Ambrose /
Ambrose?
Moxley. Like I'm not even disregarding the AEW stuff, and I'm going Ambrose.
I'm gonna go Ambrose as well, even if he's like kind of like the ugly stepchild of the show. I think Ambrose has always been relatively entertaining. I think like he's a victim of like of just bad booking. You know what I mean? Because like you see it like how well he's doing in AEW with like the kind of cuffs off. You know, like
But he wasn't
Ambrose.
booked badly his whole career though. Like he was fantastic in the Shield.
Oh yeah, but once they split apart and he was just a singles guy, like it
And then
just became like
they decided to make him Wacky Dean. It's
yeah,
like
he became
okay,
like goofy,
yeah.
like in the Shield he was like menacing and
Mhm.
like kind of like methodical and kind of like
Didn't he
and
have
I
purple hair
wish
and lose to Jeff Hardy as jobber at some point in his career, if I remember right?
I think so. Like yeah, but that was like a
Anyway,
while
sorry.
ago.
Yeah, go ahead. My
But
bad.
like he was just always one of those guys that was like and like in the Shield, incredible. When they like all kind of like have you guys played GTA 5?
Not in a long time.
Okay, but you played it. Remember Trevor?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
became Trevor from GTA 5. Just like a wacky fucking like, oh, I'm crazy, guys. It's like
Mhm.
that's not what he needed to be. He needed to be like menacing. He needed to be like methodical. And if they would have went that route instead of just making him a fucking cartoon character, like he would have been better, but they didn't. But despite all that, Sergeant Slaughter stinks. So like I'm going Ambrose as well.
Yeah.
So
Ambrose sweep.
I
All
also
right.
have a better mustache than Sergeant Slaughter.
Next up, we've got the 9 seed Rowdy Roddy Piper going up against the 24 seed Umaga.
I'll go first on this. Piper. I'm gonna give it to Piper. He's a more iconic character. Still gets talked about to this day. One of the best promos. One of the best like talkers of all time. Unfortunately, like that didn't translate. He's one of the most iconic characters in wrestling of all time, but like never really translated to like in ring success. Like
That's not true at all.
he never won a world title.
Yeah, but he
He,
was good in the ring. He was still solid in the
oh,
ring.
no, okay. I'm not saying that he didn't win a world title.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, I'm not saying he wasn't good in the ring. I'm saying like
Gotcha.
he probably should have won more, but like he never won a world title. You know what I mean? I think he won the IC. He won some mid card title, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he was a tag team champion, but like probably should have won a lot more than he did, considering how good he was on the mic. But he also never really needed to be a champion. That's not really what his character needed, if that makes sense. Like some people are just really good wherever you put them, and like Piper's one of those people.
He won the IC title once and a tag championship once.
Okay, yeah, Piper was never one of those people that needed a world title. I think the argument I made for Owen is the same I'll make for Umaga. Taken too soon. Um, one of like the best like big men of his era. Um, super fucking quick, super big. Like I think Umaga, if he would have, because I think wasn't it, I know he passed away, but I forgot why he passed away. Wasn't it? Didn't he have like a heart attack or something like that? But wasn't he like another one of those people that like would get caught like on steroids and stuff like that? I believe so. Um, I think if he would have like survived a few more years and he
He,
would have
he,
gotten
he did fail a few wellness policies, and he refused to enter rehabilitation.
yeah, he's another one of those guys that I think if he would have survived a little bit longer and like that influx of people that came in like a little bit like later, I think it would have been really great to see Umaga. Even like from like the point of view of like just like very underrated wrestler, but like just taken too soon. Very underappreciated wrestler too. Um, during that era. But I think it's Piper kind of easily, unfortunately.
I'm going with Piper. Umaga had some great matches. He had some great runs. He was another big guy that could do stuff that they set up to lose. Um, so quick fact about Piper: his lone WWE title run was won at Cyber Sunday when he was voted to team with Ric Flair. And guess who he beat for that title? Fucking Dolph Ziggler in the Spirit Squad. Anyways, moving on.
This guy, unbelievable.
I can't believe he made it through over. I still can't believe that. I'm in shock. But yeah, Piper's Pit alone gets him past Umaga. I mean, that was iconic.
Man, at this point now, you're making it really tempting to make Dolph Ziggler my Money in the Bank when you eliminate him next round. Really tempting.
I can't eliminate him by myself, unfortunately.
It depends on the matchup.
Yeah, I think the matchup's not in his favor, but that's all right. I clean sweep it. Next up, we've got the 12 seed Kane against the 21 seed Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ricky the Dragon is that far down, huh?
Kane. I mean, like, Ricky, always awesome in the ring. Like, I just think Kane is one of the most iconic characters in like WWE history. Not always had he's never had like the brightest moments. Like the Katie Vick stuff was insane.
That was horrible.
But like Kane when he first came in menacing, his stuff with Undertaker, Brothers of Destruction was always fun. When
Multiple
he got
masks,
unmasked.
Corporate Kane.
Corporate Kane was so fun. People hated Corporate Kane. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Like like Corporate Kane was hilarious. Like another guy who like you could kind of give things to and like he could make it work. Whatever. Not all of it stuck. Don't get it twisted. But like always like a reliable guy.
Right.
And all like kind of like that. He was always like that first guy somebody would feud with, like if they like were like new on the roster or something, or yeah, like their first like world title feud or something like that. Multiple time world champion as well.
I think he still has more Rumble appearances than anybody in history.
I think it might be Ziggler at this point.
I think Ziggler's short, like one or two. I'll fact check that.
It's either Kane, Ziggler.
I think Kofi passed Ziggler.
Kofi's up there. Miz, I think, is up there too.
Kane had eliminations. I know that.
Like total eliminations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he had total eliminations. He had the most in 1 year, and then Roman Reigns passed him, and then I think fucking Brock Lesnar passed him and he eliminated half the field by himself.
It's fucking insane that they did that.
Ricky Steamboat was great. He was great. He was a great wrestler. He was, unfortunately, his best stuff was before us and before we were watching it.
Yeah.
His character work was just kind of, here's a guy that kind of knows karate. Here's a guy that's a good wrestler. He didn't have a great character at all, which is weird. His real name is Richard Blood. Like, why would you not go by him? Like, I met him bowling one time because we bowling alleys used to be open overnights, and I'd get off work and go bowling. And I met him bowling one time with the Nasty Boys. Didn't recognize him. Recognized the Nasty Boys. There we are. Like, Kane is one of the most iconic characters of all time. In the ring,
one of the most iconic big men too.
In the ring, he was fine. His matches
serviceable.
His matches with the Undertaker were garbage.
For the record, Kane and it's just Kane has been in 20 Rumbles. That's the record. Kofi and The Miz have been in 16, and Dolph Ziggler has been in 15.
Okay, so Kofi and The Miz need another 4 years.
Right. And Kane also has the most all-time combined eliminations with 46. Undertaker has 40. Shawn Michaels 39. And then you've got Braun Strowman has 37. And Roman Reigns has 36. They're the active guys closest.
Yeah, Kane was good. He was great. He's one of those guys that they just kept throwing shit at the wall till something finally stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac Yankem was I actually thought Isaac Yankem was a great character because like I was like, damn, a scary dentist is scary as shit actually. Like I thought that was an incredible gimmick. But it didn't work obviously. Fake Diesel was going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then he found it. He found his gimmick. So there you go.
Yeah, Kane sweep for me, and as the 12 seed, having the advantage of being able to see the bracket, I think he has a chance to be a Cinderella in this. Although last time I said that, Mark eliminated somebody immediately. So
He did. But you can't actually eliminate somebody in this.
yeah,
so.
exactly, Mark. You can't
Using my
Encanto
money-
Kane, okay?
Using my money in the bank on Steve.
All right, next up we got the 13 seed Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, going up against the 20 seed Billy Gunn.
Oh, Billy sucks.
Billy's fine, but as a singles competitor, he just didn't do anything. The ass man.
God, they tried.
Ted DiBiase has his own championship.
Ted
One of the
DiBiase.
most iconic characters
Yeah.
of his time.
Paid off.
I think it's.
he literally bought the world title. It was fantastic.
I mean, I think it's
he was
pretty.
champion for a day.
Everybody's got a price.
I mean, I think it's pretty. Like it's DiBiase, right? Like I don't think.
Yeah, if we don't, does anybody have anything to say about Billy Gunn? Because I think it's a sweep and it's pretty easy.
I love Billy Gunn personally.
Dear God, this is Billy.
He's
Please
just
help me.
hilarious. like the fact that he's still going is kind of crazy. You know,
He's still jacked out of his mind.
He is an Adonis, but I mean, sorry, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Poor guy.
All right, next.
ran into.
He just got spanked. He just got Aladdin right out of the
Oh, God.
tournament.
This is going to be... I can see what's coming up next is going to be crazy. The 14 seed JBL against the 19 seed Cesaro.
JBL. Like, I love Cesaro as an in-ring competitor. Cesaro runs circles around.
It's a fantastic athlete.
As a competitor, Cesaro runs circles around JBL. As a character, JBL runs circles around Cesaro. JBL, like,
right.
say what you want about the title reign.
Mexicans
Say
out of the
what you
country.
want about the title reign, like whether it was boring or not. The fact of the matter is that JBL is one of the, like, as far as that time period, is one of like the most like hateable heels like of all time. Like when I think of like heels in the 2000s, I think of Triple H, JBL, Randy Orton, Edge. Those are the four that I think of as just like hateable, detestable. Like this was before the era of like the cool heel, like before like the cool heel like came back essentially. Like JBL was just that guy that you love to fucking hate and that you love to see fucking lose, and that's why like John Cena's like title victory was such a big deal because it was like the fucking heel like that's been running roughshod on SmackDown for almost a year finally fucking getting his just due. Whatever, but I mean JBL is just such an entertaining guy. Like his stuff as Bradshaw sucked. Well, kind of. Like the APA was
how great the APA was. They were
the
fun.
APA was fun. The APA was fun.
The APA
like,
was
whenever
great.
the APA
His single stuff was great. He was great on the mic.
Yeah.
Compared to Cesaro, who's not good on the mic at all.
Yeah, but it's like it's JBL. I think it's JBL easily. Unfortunately, like Cesaro's a guy that just wish he would have gotten more, and I wish he was better on the mic.
My issue with JBL is he got knocked out by Joey Styles. But JBL wins. I just had to point that out because I think it's funny that he got knocked out by Joey Styles.
Again, Cesaro really good in the ring, entertaining. I think the stuff that he did with Sheamus has to be the highlight of his WWE run.
The bar was so fun.
Because just the best of 7, and then they turn that into somehow tag teaming together and being very good in the bar. And then the back and forth with them, again, in that same era, with them holding the Raw tag titles when Lesnar was holding the championship hostage and we never saw him. So all the other titles had to step up, and they stepped up big.
God, I love the bar, actually. Now I'm thinking, like, the bar is one of those tag teams that when they were around, I was like...
even then, if we're comparing, like, I would take the APA over the bar.
From an
That'd be-
entertainment
that'd-
standpoint,
that'd be a
I take the
beatdown of a
APA.
match, wouldn't it?
Right.
Well, again, it's one of those things like from an entertainment standpoint, I take the APA, but from like an in-ring standpoint, I take the bar.
I don't know. They'd beat the hell out of each other, and it'd
It would
be
be
great.
Yeah, it would be really fun to watch.
And now I'm gonna do that in 2K, just for the fun of it. All right. Next up, we've got the 11 seed Farouk, aka Ron Simmons. Speaking of the APA,
Okay.
Against the 22 seed Ken Shamrock.
Oh man. Oh man.
When I think of my childhood and getting into wrestling, Ken Shamrock is one of the heels that I think of. And him feuding with Austin and being part of the McMahon's corporation.
So I'll let you two take the reins on this. I didn't watch a lot of Ken or Farouk, unfortunately.
I enjoyed Ken Shamrock, but for me, it's Ron Simmons pretty easily. Damn. I mean, just one word. One word, I think, puts him past Ken Shamrock.
Oh, Ken Shamrock. What a foil to the Rock he was, huh? He's another guy that's just fucking scary. But I think he's scary because he's a fucking psycho for real.
Well,
He can
and
actually legitimately whoop your ass.
he's also one of the first that paved the way for guys like Angle and even Lesnar, like coming
Who's a
over from
legitimate fighter.
MMA, who was a
Yeah.
legit badass that could kill you if he wanted to, and turned that into a professional wrestling career.
Yeah, I can't look past Ron Simmons being the first African American world champion.
Yeah, that's a great point.
He wrestled in a time that we can't imagine being in at this point,
Right.
and I can't look past it. Against a better wrestler, I would pick over the better work. Ken Shamrock just didn't have the amount of work to
Right.
get past Farouk / Ron Simmons. Shamrock was good. Shamrock was fun. I can watch a Ken Shamrock match and have a good time. I can't watch the Lions Den match anymore because that was pretty terrible. But Ken Shamrock was all right. He was fine. But we're still saying boo now. So I'm going with Farouk / Simmons between the world title and the staying power of the comedic stuff he has. And just seeing him smoke a guitar behind a random door playing cards was entertaining. Like, okay. So
I will say this about Ken Shamrock. I'll go Farouk as well. I will say this about Ken Shamrock. As far as like a guy, like Steve has said, as far as like a guy who transitioned from MMA to professional wrestling, like when he first came around, like you could look at like the roster from top to bottom, and he like kind of sticks out like a sore thumb because of like just how different that presentation was, and the fact that like that, like knowing that like he could legitimately fuck you up,
Right.
like kind of like added like a different allure to him that in a time where everybody was saying, oh, wrestling's fake, like was kind of like it almost like gave legitimacy. Huh?
It's like, don't say it to that guy.
Right.
Don't tell him that.
Like he like okay, tell that to that guy. Like he will. But yeah, I'm also gonna go Ron Simmons because you made an excellent point about him being the first Black World Champion, for sure.
All right, next up, we've got the 10 seed, Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. The Fiend, going up against the 23 seed, Zack Ryder.
Where's Zack Ryder? What a shitty draw for him.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's Bray. I mean, even like...
I mean, I don't even have to say anything. You guys know Bray's my guy, so...
Yeah, I mean, like, from character work alone, like, it's one of those things, like, Ryder...
I think he's done a fantastic job of turning nothing into something. Of people not caring he existed to being the internet champion before being popular on social media was even a thing, predating YouTube. Like he was getting over on the internet through chat rooms and message boards.
Being the elite needs to thank Zack Ryder because they show that you can be huge online and be popular.
Yeah,
he was the first big like social media like presence on like.
He was one of the first people to be able to use the internet to build a following and turn his
That into
behind the
sustained
scenes
success.
popularity into on-screen success.
Like, unfortunately, I think Ryder is a product of his time, like, and a product of like a lack of understanding. Like, I think if he would have like did what he did like now versus like when he started, um I think people would have eventually like I think he would have had a little bit more success, whatever. Or like maybe if like it happened during a time where like Vince wasn't in charge. I honestly think Vince never got Zack Ryder. Like I don't think Vince ever understood
Right.
like the popularity of Zack Ryder and how like crucial like now like the internet isn't a real place, right? But like how crucial like online like support is for like certain people because like that is a fan base.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I honestly just think that Vince never understood him, whatever, and just kind of like it got to a point where he couldn't shut the fans up, so he just kind of threw him a bone, whatever. And then when
Like,
it
shoved
started
him
to
down the
kind of
stairs.
yeah, and then when it started to kind of like die down, he was like, "All right, get the fuck out," you know. But like, I think it's pretty easily Bray. As far as like character work alone, like just like some of the most like awesome creative things we've seen in the last like 15 years because I think that's when
Now he did have a
actually
couple. He did have a couple swing and misses though.
he did. He did, but
It
I think that's more
wasn't
booking than
perfect, but
him
he
though.
was.
I think
Well,
that's
I
a lot more
mean,
booking than him.
so some of the stuff he just was not good, but it was he had a crazy mind for the business. He was
Yeah.
different. He was different when everybody was the same. So it was fun. His in ring work wasn't great.
It was
It was
passable.
okay.
Yeah.
He moved really well. And maybe I remember he was Husky Harris one time, and
Oh yeah,
he
he
was wrestling. He
stunk.
was wrestling somebody, and he was Duke Rotundo, and Duke Rotundo and Bo Rotundo. They were the tag team champions in FCW, and they were taking on God, who were they facing? Johnny Curtis, who's now Fandango, and EC3. I forgot who his character was for the tag team titles, and they were the bad guys. And we're like, "You suck."
What was the other one? Derek
We
Bateman?
Derek Bateman, there you go. We were saying you suck, and he turned around to me. You get your fat ass in here and do it. I was like, oh, he called me a fat ass. Like I was geeking out. It was kind of funny because he was very interactive with the audience. So that was pretty cool. But I'm going Bray. Poor Matt Cardona / Zack Ryder. He's all right. Even now, he's still. I feel like he's having a hard time finding his footing. I don't know if his internet popularity is actually going against him. If that makes sense. Like I feel like people are used. Think the way Tim Tebow was so popular with random people, I think that went against him too. I think that's going against Matt Cardona, if that makes sense. Like I think he's almost
It's
too popular to where people are like, we don't want to go near you because you're so famous.
almost like overexposed
Yeah, if that makes sense. But yeah,
because like
it's not even close to Bray Wyatt.
because he's
So
more pop because like it's not that like the funny thing about Zack Ryder is that like he's another guy like that is like entertaining like from a character point of view like hasn't always been like the best in the ring. Like he's a solid worker but not like somebody who's like being praised as like this guy
yeah,
who could just go in the ring. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's almost like his popularity is exposing his in-ring work to an extent. So like it's almost like he's over popular, but then when you actually watch a Matt Cardona match, it's like, oh, it's fine, whatever. It's not like he's putting on bad matches, but it's not like a Cody Rhodes where like everybody knew that Cody was good in the ring,
Yep.
but like he was just like not getting like his due. Where Ryder, like he got himself over because of his character work and because of like his abilities to generate this following. But when he finally got the time in the ring, it was just kind of like, eh, like you're decent, but like how are you better than these other people? You know what I mean? Like because like Ryder got himself over when like people like Daniel Bryan are running around, like Punk, like Ziggler, Great Ziggler, whatever. Like
Great Ziggler.
But yeah, unfortunately, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bray with the sweep.
Steve, who are you voting for?
I already said it at the beginning. I was the first
Yep.
one to say Bray.
Matt Cardona, huh?
Yeah. All right, next, finishing out Region 3, we've got the 15 seed, Kurt Hennig, a.k.a. Mr. Perfect, going up against the 18 seed, Big E.
I feel like recency bias is going to go up against a lot of what I love.
This is tough.
Poor Big E. Speaking of career shortened, oh my gosh. God, he was on her. Speaking of career shortened by Brock Lesnar, by the way. Jesus.
Such an entertaining guy.
So fun. Kurt Hennig was.
Why Brock Lesnar?
Because Brock Lesnar ended his WWE title reign pretty emphatically.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have. Like, it's like, damn, dude, he was such a popular champ. Just so we could have Brock and Roman at WrestleMania. They're like, oh, let's take the title off Big E. Let's not talk about that shit.
But at least he got a WWE title reign. Won Money in the Bank, won a title, won the IC title twice, right?
Several time tag team champion.
He was so fun. He was such a fun character.
Yeah, and then part of one of the greatest tag teams ever. Plus, I mean, on the mic, fantastic, entertaining. The 5 count even in NXT. I mean,
man, that's tough. I think this is a lot harder than.
So my guy, Mr. Perfect, the Minnesota's own Mr. Perfect. I still remember watching him as a kid throw a 300 game in bowling, throw a no-hitter on. It's like, what the fuck? This is so cheesy and campy. I loved it. Then he produced match after match after match. He was, when the IC title was a workman's belt, he was the main focus of it. You know what I mean? Like, he was going up against Bret Hart. He's taking on Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall. He's just having just classics in them. The West Texas Rednecks in WCW was entertaining. He wasn't really huge in WCW as he could have been, although he did join the Four Horsemen, so that was good.
And the NWO, I think.
His work with I think I was
who
in the
didn't?
NWO I think I was in the NWO at some point in time.
I think at one point everybody but Goldberg was in the NWO, right?
When
Wasn't
Sting
it Goldberg
joined the
against
NWO,
everyone?
I was done with it. Yeah, I think so. When Sting joined it, I was like, okay, we've gone too far. He had great matches with the $1 Million Man. Then he joined the $1 Million Man. He was against the Big Boss Man. Like, he was a who's who of guys like that. Oh God, Big E was so fun. I'm going Big E. I'm actually going against what I think who I like to watch wrestle more, because I liked everything Big E did. Even though I did like what Mr. Perfect did on as far as promos go, Big E was just fun. Like, he made you have fun watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And even his stuff on the mic on the pre-shows is fun, because Mr. Perfect was an announcer as well for a while, so he was on he had exposure there. The Perfect Plex, though, let's not look back at the Perfect Plex and think how this guy made a suplex a finisher. That was so a fisherman suplex was a finisher because it was so nicely done. Yeah, Big E it is. I'm going Big E.
Steve, I'm gonna have you go next because I still haven't made a decision.
Okay, I'm going Big E. It's not difficult for me. Like I said, just the pure entertainment aspect of it, the fact that he's part of one of the greatest tag teams ever. But unlike what we talked about earlier with Matt Hardy, where it's like you're really searching for how over really was he as a singles competitor. With Big E, he won the WWE Championship. He won multiple IC titles. He was dominant in NXT with the 5 count. He had the Money in the Bank. And yeah, the crowd wanted him to win the title. They wanted him to win Money in the Bank. They were pushing for him to get a run. So yeah, for me, it's Big E.
I'm gonna
did he beat Seth, or did Seth beat him for the NXT title? I can't remember.
Seth.
I don't think he ever held. Did he hold?
Yeah, he did.
Hold the NXT?
He was the second NXT champion. He beat Seth.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna pull a Steve here, and say Mr. Perfect just so he doesn't get swept.
There you go.
I think very few people like fit a character so perfectly.
Mhm.
Ironically enough, like not ironically enough, but like
It was a
no pun
perfect fit.
intended.
Mhm.
Yeah, no pun intended. Like very few people have actively looked the part of their character like Mr. Perfect, and
Those
actually
curls,
like
man.
because like they could have done all that character stuff and him sucking in the ring, but like he was also incredible in the ring too.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those things where it's like it's kind of crazy how he didn't do more.
Right.
Like you look at a guy like that, and it's like, really? Like you see the matches he put on, and he didn't win more.
Right.
So
He
it's
only
like
won one IC title, and that was it.
it's crazy. So it's like I'm gonna go Mr. Perfect on this, but like I understand Biggie.
Yeah. All right, we're on to Region 4. We've got the 16 seed, the Iron Sheik. Fuck Hulk Hogan. And the 17 seed, Gold Dust.
So the Iron Sheik was like after my time, and I'm older than both of you, so I don't remember any Iron Sheik matches. The only thing I remember about
You
Iron
mean
Sheik
before your time?
Yeah.
well, my time, sorry. He was done before me.
Yeah.
And the only thing I remember about him is fuck Hulk Hogan,
Mhm.
which
I mean, on that alone,
for
he
that.
may need to go
Because
through.
he does have a
No.
better mustache than I do. I love Goldust. Goldust was great. Goldust with Booker T was great. Goldust with God, what was her name? Terry with the giant guitar,
Terry
with the giant
Reynolds,
cigar. Terry Reynolds was great.
real life wife.
Yeah,
One
he.
point.
Fortunately, Goldust technically wasn't in TNA, so I can't talk about how bad Dustin was in TNA. That's
Black
Black
Rain.
Rain. Yeah, which is pretty awful. So, but he wasn't Goldust, so that works. Thank
Tag
God.
team with Relic.
Ugh, which was Killer spelled backwards. They had to point that out every fucking show. I hate that thing. Anyways, yeah. How did we not get a good Cody and Dustin match at Mania? I just don't know. We never will because Dustin's clearly entrenched in AEW. I'm going Dustin. I'm going Goldust. Goldust was great, man.
I mean, they did have a great match in AEW.
Yes. Yeah, I mean it was
When
I
he
would
got
argue one
busted
of
open, and that was
AEW's best.
disgusting.
you could even say it was
I would
5-star.
argue one of AEW's best matches.
It's been all downhill since then.
How'd they last so long?
Yeah. People just like variety.
Apparently. I'm going Goldust.
I'm gonna save you some time, Steve. I'm going Goldust as well.
So am I. It's a clean sweep. But Iron Sheik, respect. Mad respect.
Yeah, I mean, like, said fuck Hogan in a time where like Hogan was the man.
I mean, he got
Hogan before he died, like every day.
But again, he got pretty over in a time in WWF when it was literally just the American against the foreigner. That was it.
Yeah.
That was every rivalry. That was everything you saw. And he still managed to come out of that fairly popular and stayed popular well past his wrestling days. So,
You
mad
can argue
respect.
that with Goldust too. I mean, like,
the first Iranian-born world champion, WWE champion, which is pretty crazy.
I think the only at this point too. I don't think there's been another Iranian-born.
I don't think so either. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here you go. We got an animal battle in this one.
Oh,
Man.
We got the 9 seed, Jake the Snake Roberts, going up against the 24 seed, Rhino.
poor Rhino. His best stuff was an 8.
Yeah. I mean, like
Jake the Snake as a villain was so cool.
Mhm.
He just talked really slow.
he was what I wish Dean Ambrose was. Like,
Yeah, that's a good call.
Mhm.
That's a very good call.
like just menacing. Like almost like you. There might be a screw loose.
I remember that as a kid.
What's up?
Earthquake killed Damien when I was a kid.
Really? Like, was that
Yeah.
like a?
It wasn't a real snake. I'm sure they didn't really kill the snake.
Okay, I was gonna say.
In the bag, Earthquake did the thing where you run against the
Oh,
rope
man.
and sit on it. He crushed it. He killed Damien. Poor Damien. Then he had another snake at next week, so it was pretty crazy. Macho Man holding his arm with that snake on it.
Uh-huh.
I still can't watch that without getting the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's Jake. was like a guy that just like he had like a certain kind of like essence about him that was
Yeah.
just like super cool. You know what I mean? Like kind of creepy, kind of like almost like does he have a screw loose? You know what I mean? Like you look
Is
at
he
him
really
like
wacko?
yeah,
This is
like
right. This is fake, but is it for him?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, like
is
he
he
might
really
actually kill
acting,
people.
or is he unstable?
Knowing his
Will he
real
worry
life
that your
story,
snake
it's actually
bites you?
like
Yes, he
knowing
will.
like his real life story, it's actually like really sad. Like
Mhm.
his father was like a fucking piece of shit. But we're not gonna get into that. But I'm going Jake.
Fun fact,
Easily.
and like I looked up random facts, and this one I think is hilarious. There's actually 2 fun facts with this one.
That's-
Okay.
Jake the Snake was actually named Rockin' Robin at one point in his career.
All right.
Wow.
It's stupid. And Rhino's middle name is Guido, which cracks me up.
Nice.
His real name is
Guido?
Terrence Guido Gerin. Gerein.
All
Guido?
right. Yeah, I
Sorry.
believe that's a clean sweep there for Jake.
He was
the Snake.
destined to make spaghetti. Like
It
what?
is a full clean sweep. Later, Guido. Loved you.
I just like to point out the fact there's some fucking huge names that haven't been named yet.
Mhm.
That
We do have 6 people getting buys, right?
8 in each region
oh
are getting
okay.
buys. Yeah.
In each region.
Okay.
So you got to remember our top 32 haven't even been mentioned yet.
It's crazy.
All right, next up we've got the 12 seed, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, going up against the 21 seed, Ravishing Rick Rude.
You motherfucker.
I mean, I'm going recency bias on this.
Uh-huh.
I'm going Cody. I think Cody.
If we were talking about Cody pre-comeback, then it would be Rick Rude.
I don't even know if it would have been that far off though.
You're nuts. You know
Like-
how many men got a good match out of Ultimate Warrior? Rick Rude. That's it.
Fair.
How many men in the history of wrestling were on the same 2 different shows at the same moment in time? Shane McMahon, obviously, and Vince McMahon, but Rick Rude was on Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Nitro at the same moment, back when they were recording different times.
That's actually really cool.
Rick Rude's airbrush pants game is better than anybody's of all time.
Mhm.
Rick Rude is going to go ahead and take my Money in the Bank briefcase. He got a rough draw against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, but I am keeping Rick Rude in this contest.
Christine.
Where were you going, Steve? I'm curious.
Hmm?
Where were you going? Were you going Cody? Or were you going...
I voted Cody. Yeah.
Wow. Rick Rude just. Oh, okay. So Cody's still in this. Rick Rude just has his briefcase.
You're voting Cody, right, Mark?
I'm voting Cody.
Yeah. And then Duck, you're gonna vote Rick Rude or Cody? It doesn't matter. Like you can vote for Cody and give Rick Rude your briefcase. Still, it doesn't matter.
I'm voting for Cody.
Okay.
Because Cody deserves a sweep, but I'm
You're giving Rude
your
your.
briefcase.
Okay, that's fine. I am, just so you guys know, I'm reserving my briefcase for the next round, just because, like I said, we've got our top 32 that haven't even come up yet. So there's a chance that I feel somebody gets knocked out there that shouldn't. I was tempted by Shinsuke. I couldn't believe he got knocked out already, but I feel like I have to wait until next round because that's when all the big names are going to come up.
The heavy hitters, yeah.
I can't help it. Rick Rude, man, he was so good on the mic. He was so good in the ring. He looked so good. I mean, I know we're only voting him out. He only lost that is because we're a bunch of out of shape sweat hogs, and we know all the women want to be with him, and we just want to be him. That's
Obviously.
the issue. That's the issue.
All right, next up, we've got number 13, William Regal, War Games, going up against the man he loved to put in War Games, number 20, Adam Cole.
Oh man.
Baby.
Ugh.
Now NXT is canon, right?
Yes, the whole reason he's on here is because he was only in NXT and was so big in NXT.
Adam Cole with a bullet for me. William Regal was good, great commissioner, fantastic commissioner in
Awesome character.
both WWE and NXT. Steven Regal was funny in WCW. One of the stupidest theme songs ever that Cesaro sang on had to sing on the
He's
YouTube
a
channel,
man.
which was one of the most entertaining things Cesaro has ever done. By the way, it was so good. William Regal's great; he's great. But Adam Cole, his run with the Undisputed Era was just match after match after match. When he had the stupid brown belt, I forgot what North American title, he was good. When he was the whole champion, he was good. When his matches with Kyle O'Reilly were good. When Kyle O'Reilly ended up being a face, turning into boring Kyle, by the way. Adam Cole. Boom.
I'm gonna go Regal.
Oh man.
Just because the run that he had in like the heyday too, like the back end of the Attitude Era when they had so much going on. 4-time WCW World Television Champion, 4-time European Champion, and 2-time Intercontinental Champion. He dominated the mid card. Was never like a main eventer on the main roster, but I mean he was still in that era where he couldn't like break into that. But the promo work, the stuff on the mic, even on commentary, he was always great. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Regal.
Always been.
Yeah, it's no disrespect towards Regal for me, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Regal.
Like Regal's always one of those people that like I think if he was American, he would have won a world title. Vince just did not like European side, like giving like world titles to European people like all that much. Like anybody with an accent specifically.
Like the run for Adam Cole through NXT was dominant, and honestly, the only reason that I would lean Regal is because of the fact that his only dominance for Cole was in NXT. Outside of how Triple H booked him in NXT, he's done basically nothing.
But at the same time, though, like I'm going Adam Cole on this.
Okay.
My argument for that is that like because he didn't have like a main roster run, sort of ruined it. Like it was almost like
it remains pure.
Yeah.
That's actually a perfect way to say it, Steve. It remains pure. He hasn't had the Malachi Black main roster run where we're like,
Ricochet. Like he has like there's so many people who had like Gargano. Well, Gargano's doing good now, and Ciampa's doing good now. But like, there's so many people that like.
You mean Shawn Michaels and Triple H?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like those runs, awesome runs at NXT. Finn.
Yeah.
like Finn, Samoa Joe, Keith Lee. Like there's so many people that we named already that are on today's bracket that were like, yeah, like there's so many people and it's like, and Cole never had that main roster run, so it was like he got out at the best time. It's like, bless your heart. You know what I mean?
Right, Adam Cole moving on, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got the 14 seed Diamond Dallas Page going up against the 19 seed Scott Steiner.
Oh, you bastard.
Big pop.
This is kind of tough.
I'm going DDP, bang, and that's it.
This is kind of tough.
On yoga alone, I'm going DDP.
I don't know, man. Steiner,
I don't want to have to be the one to decide, so I'm going Steiner math. There's a 50% chance that 60% of us will vote 80% of the time, and 100% of the time,
but
you will lose.
That was a TNA thing, but
he was great. He was great in WCW too.
Yeah,
like he was fantastic.
He's dominant in WCW.
He's one of those guys that went from a tag wrestler to a actual wrestler and flourished.
fucking crushed it in
Now,
singles too.
when he signed with WWE, unfortunately, he signed during the Reign of Terror, and Triple H is like, let's have a flex off, and then Triple H is like, let's have a long match with a guy that can't move while I myself can't move. Because I think Triple H's groin was messed up because that's when he was wearing the biker shorts, that weird shit. So it was just bad. It was crazy levels bad. Steiner should have been just dominating people. They're like, no, let's let him lose to Triple H because why not? DDP was great too. I think if DDP started sooner, I think I'd love DDP more. He was the ultimate foil for the NWO for a long time.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. Like DDP started in his mid 30s.
Yeah,
like
he was our
came into it late.
Yeah, in WCW, we wanted DDP to get run. Like I remember when he was younger, he drove the car for the Honky Tonk Man and somebody and Jim the Hammer Valentine, or no, Jim the Anvil. No, is it
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Greg the Hammer Valentine. There we go. I'm like mixing up gimmicks. But he drove their car out there. That's how old he was. Like he's 68 years old. Good for him. And then he came in WWE as the Undertaker stalker. Like, all right, we just took one of the best babyfaces in WCW history and made him a stalker and put him with Chris Kanyon, who who's better than Kanyon? Everybody was better than Kanyon. So DDP is one of the guys that should have done better in WWE, but just they're like, nah. Vince McMahon has to dominate everything WCW. But I'm going Scott Steiner. Loved Scott Steiner. Loved him in TNA too. Him with a little PD pump cracked me up.
I think you just talked me out of Scott Steiner. I was gonna go Scott Steiner, but I'm actually gonna go DDP. Just because they had very similar they're very similar stories. Like awesome in WCW, got to WWE, and it's like, wow.
Yep.
Like what happened? Whatever.
What kicks it for me is Steiner actually had a good run in TNA too. Whereas after Diamond Dallas Page just flounder in WWE, he just started doing yoga, which good for him. But
I think he couldn't. I think he had to stop pretty much. Like he had gotten hurt and
Well, yeah, that's why he got into yoga, is because his body was breaking down and you needed a way to recover.
Yeah, remember you started really late, so it's like, yeah, I'll go DDP. But shout out to Steiner. Like you said before, like one of the best tag team to singles wrestlers in transitions.
I'm not upset about it. I picked Steiner first because I didn't want to have to be the one to make the decision of who it was, so I copped out like a little pussy. But I love them both. They were both great. They're good. They're both good. Great to watch. And Steiner's batshit crazy, which I think is funny.
It's an interesting one because it actually happened. But the 11 seed, The Miz, going up against the 22 seed, Tommaso Ciampa.
Miz, I love Ciampa, but I love Ciampa. He's actually one of my favorite people from NXT.
Mm-hmm.
It's The Miz. I mean, he's a guy who has succeeded in WWE that,
despite nobody wanting it.
Yeah, he's I think of the quote
he's the only two-time Grand Slam champion.
Two-time Grand Slam champion. You think about everybody who has wrestled in WWE history, and The Miz is the first two-time Grand Slam champion. And you think of the quote that Cody said, what was it? Unwantable to undeniable or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that.
The Miz, I think, has is kind of
undesirable, maybe to
undesirable to ungoddamn deniable.
Undeniable.
The Miz to me is kind of when I think of people like that, I think of The Miz. The Miz was awful when he started in 2006. Awful.
He's also just a great scumbag. He's so fun to hate. Great scumbag,
decent face too. Also has is one of the people who has actually put in the work to really his matches are never the best, but he could go and he's gotten better over time. He really has gotten better over time. He's also one of those people that he takes his time off TV every once in a while, but it's never because he's hurt. He's always healthy. Like he's one of like the most economically like safe wrestlers like of all time.
Mhm.
Like as far as just like non-injury compared to like time on the shelf. Like it's crazy, but it's the Miz.
So if Tommaso Ciampa suffers from what Adam Cole didn't suffer from, he went to the main roster.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the 3 years or 4 years, whatever it was, Tommaso Ciampa spent on NXT, I could pick Tommaso Ciampa. I could do that. I can't do it because the Miz has just had so much better of a career. He has been a part of some stinky, stinky stuff. The
Well,
John Cena Main Event at Mania.
I think that
But
the thing with Cole too is also the matchup. Like I
Yeah.
feel like depending on like if we were talking about the Miz against Adam Cole,
I think Miz wins.
I think so too.
I think you're right. But like I said, it would be more of a debate. Is what
Mhm.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you'd
True.
have more debate, but there's just not that much of a debate. And also, the Miz was. It's crazy that he's a bad guy in this because I'm a big challenge fan. Like I grew up watching MTV The Challenge and Road Rules Challenge, so I still watch it to this day. Like Wednesday night, I record it every week. Um, and the Miz was a good guy in that. Like he was the guy we're rooting for, and now he's just a scumbag. Like he's a horrible face. He's a terrible face on TV.
I don't think he's that bad of a face. Like
Awful face. Nobody likes. Oh, look at Miz doing doing the worst version of the figure four I've ever seen in my life. He's horrible as a face, as a scumbag heel. Just perfect scumbag heel, perfect foil. He's a great guy to throw in there against a face champion. Like, you have a new face champion. Who's he gonna face? Let's have him face off against the Miz. That'll be fun. You have a new person that's a face. Have him come in. AJ Styles against the Miz. Perfect. Let's do that. That's
eight-time Intercontinental Champion too.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
will probably
I'm
hold the
go- I'm
record
going-
before he retires.
I'm going Miz. Poor Ciampa.
All right, next up we've got the 10 seed Gunther going up against the 23 seed John Morrison.
I love Morrison.
Tough draw for Morrison.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love Morrison, but like I think Gunther,
Even
in
with
such
the
a
shorter
short
career,
amount of time,
Gunther
Yeah.
easily.
in such a short amount of time, has easily become one of the best like wrestlers of the modern era.
If we were to do this again in 5 years, Gunther might be one of the 32 with a bye.
Yeah,
If it keeps going the way it's going, absolutely.
Yeah.
like it's crazy. Like the rise has been so quick, but it's also hasn't felt like it's felt organic, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. And it hasn't, because there's a lot of people who have had meteoric rises that it's like, oh, come on. Like it's obvious you're pushing this guy. But like with him, it's felt organic and like a
He's a big,
nice
strong man.
Yeah.
Big,
like
strong man. Big, strong
and
man.
like he feels like a guy that like another just economically like just healthy like dude, and like he's willing to put in the work because like you saw him go from fat guy to like
Yep.
to like rip. You know who he reminds me? It reminds me of Jokic, and like from the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, just
basketball. Jokic. Gotcha.
yeah, like a guy who like was good when he was fat, but then got in shape and like became infinitely better. Like so, like it's the same thing with Gunther.
So Morrison, one of the first Tough Enough winners, one of the most athletic people we've ever seen in wrestling. Like just athleticism is just off the charts. Was made world champion in the old ECW thing, when the ECW WWE. I don't think
WCW,
that
yeah.
was the plan for him to be world champion. I think he got championship because of somebody who is not on this list for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Morrison's a fun, entertaining person to have around. He's a good Intercontinental title match. He had a long, great career. Still doing it to this day. Johnny TV but Gunther is just on another level, man. He
Yep.
was on another level when he was in WWE NXT UK or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah.
That nobody watched. He was the champion for like 2 years in that. Like it's incredible.
He is before Roman, he was the longest reigning champion in the modern era. Before Roman broke that record.
Steve,
Which is
maybe you
crazy.
can find the stats on this at some point in time. Gunther has been a champion way more on the main roster than he's not been a champion.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
You're
probably
right.
accurate. Yeah.
total days as champion has to be at least double the amount of time he's been non-champion on the roster. And I'm
In
not sure
gen-
how you
even
I'm
if
not
you
sure how you'd find those numbers.
even
but
if you're not looking at main roster, just in general, his time in WWE, because like the UK
Well, when he came
title too,
in, he took the UK title off of Pete
Pete
Dunne.
Dunne.
And he held that until Dragunov took it from him, and then he went straight from that to WWE, right, to the main roster.
He was in regular NXT for a little bit of time. Like they had the feud with the Undisputed Era at some point. I think he fought like Braun Breaker for like the NXT title at some point. One of like his only like clean losses. But like after that, he went pretty quickly to like the main roster. There was a little bit of a point in time where he wasn't regular
his
NXT,
main
but like
roster run, he might be maybe 3 to 4 months where he hasn't had a title.
yeah.
He's had a title almost the whole time he's been there. It's insane. It's incredible.
I would argue the most
I'm going Gunther, by the
successful
way. Easy.
NXT like
UK
alumni.
person.
Oh yeah. So
Like
he debuted on the April 8th episode of SmackDown. So the SmackDown after Mania.
what was that 2023?
2022.
Okay.
And then 2 months later, he beat Ricochet to win the Intercontinental Championship and held it until Sammy beat it off of him in WrestleMania. So he had 2 months with no title, and then he held the IC title for almost 2 years, and then went from that to earning the main Raw Championship title match and winning it off of Damian Priest.
3 months.
So another 2 or 3
like
months
that.
without a title, and then right into another championship.
Like
That's
that's incredible.
crazy.
He made the Intercontinental title huge again. So
Yeah.
it's Gunther. I don't think it's difficult for me.
Yep, I am with you guys. Sweep there. All right. Last one in Region 4. We have the 15 seed, Davey Boy Smith, a.k.a. the British Bulldog, going up against the 18 seed, Kofi Kingston.
I thought this was going to be harder when you said Davey Boy Smith, because I really like Davey Boy Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi Kingston, between the longevity, all the being a part of the greatest tag team champions of all time, and his Rumble appearances as well have been ridiculous. Like, we all look forward to the Rumble. What's Kofi going to do at Rumble? What's Kofi going to do at Rumble? And
which they finally stopped doing.
Yeah, because he became a heel. So it's like, okay, well, now he's the bad guy. So now we can't do that.
Well, no, because he's botched the last 2. So
oh,
they said they weren't going to do that anymore.
They're like, all right, man.
Yeah.
You're getting old.
I like Kofi a lot. Kofi is one of those guys that I just enjoy watching wrestle. Poor guy got buried by Triple H and Shawn Michaels with a Jamaican accent thing that was messed up. Got buried by Randy Orton when he messed up some move, so he got pushed down the card for years. His title run wasn't great. His title win was fantastic. Davey Boy
one
Smith,
of the best moments. Yeah.
Yeah, Davey Boy Smith was fun. He didn't have the longevity. He had a good career. The Hart Foundation was incredible. He had that good match with Bret at SummerSlam. It was SummerSlam or
SummerSlam.
That tore the house down, which apparently he was drunk off his ass for, and Bret carried him. Apparently, from what came out from Bret, but you never know if Bret's telling the truth or just like at this point in Bret's career, you're like, okay, well, I mean, if you say Goldberg, he goes nuts. So there's that. But yeah, Davey Boy Smith was great. I love the British Bulldogs. They were good. The Hart Foundation was good. Him and Owen were fun together too. But Kofi with a bullet for me. Loved Kofi. He's just a fun character. He's a fun guy, fun to watch. Multiple tag champions with multiple wrestlers, multiple IC title reigns. I don't know if he won any US titles. That's another fact check thing for Steve to deal with. And that world title win, and that world title.
Yeah, he definitely won the US title. He definitely did. I think that was his first singles title. Maybe the IC title, but I know he's won at least one or
He's
two.
won 4 Intercontinental Championships. Of course, Kofi Mania, the one championship there. He's won 3 U.S. titles.
Okay.
That's when it was the American flag. I love that title, by the way. That design. I'm going Kofi as well. Save you some time, Steve. British Bulldog.
You're making me crazy.
Anyway, British Bulldog, a guy that probably should have had more success than he did.
Yeah, it's interesting
Take it
because
too
we've
soon.
got Kofi Mania, right, against the British Bulldog winning at SummerSlam in London.
With a roll-up, nonetheless.
Yeah. Against
True.
Bret Hart. So you got two guys whose singles careers defined by massive pay-per-view moments.
Yeah, but one of them was a world title one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of them was a world title. Like, you could argue that, like, that Bulldog probably should have had a Kofi Mania type moment as far as, like, actually getting a world title win. Because, like, Bulldog was always one of those people that, like, was touted as one of, like, the best workers during his time. So you could argue that he should have had that at some point, but he just didn't get it. Like Kofi Mania, like shouldn't have happened, but did. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where it's like Kofi Mania is like the fans willing something into happening. Yeah. So like you could argue that should have happened with Bulldog as well, but like it was one of those things where it was like, fortunately, it just didn't happen. I think if it would have happened, you could maybe make the argument a little bit more. But I think it's Kofi.
Yeah,
it feels weird to say, but
I agree that Kofi deserves to advance. But once again, I will vote for British Bulldog just because I don't think he deserves to be swept.
Fair.
Like I said, that SummerSlam over Bret, one of the top replayable moments in the history of WWE.
Yeah,
just
holy shit.
Yeah, just longevity and the multiple things that he's done. Kofi, moving on for sure.